All right. Ready? Let's go, Lloyd.
Kharg, you can do it.
Right. Let's begin. You're showing a lot of improvement.
Hang on. We're not finished yet. How's that?
Well done.
After Kharg defeats Lloyd in combat, Lloyd acknowledges that it might be time for him to retire soon. Lloyd has been training Kharg to eventually take over as commander. Paulette, Lloyd's daughter and Kharg's childhood friend, is also present. Soon after, the three are interrupted by Banjo. Kharg and Paulette then head to Kharg's house, where they then hear a mysterious voice. Following the voice, Kharg enters his mother Nafia's bedroom. Instead of finding someone, he discovers a glimmering blue stone. Suddenly, the spirit of the wind appears and instructs Kharg to listen carefully before vanishing. Kharg recalls the stories his mother used to tell him as a child. These tales speak of a time when humans and spirits coexisted peacefully.
Long, long ago, people lived in peace with the spirits. But a divine ruler with an evil heart appeared, and he used the power of science to try to rule the world. However, many brave people stood up against this ruler. Borrowing the power of the spirits, they defeated the evil ruler, and they sealed his body inside an ark. Do you know what an ark is? It's like a box that holds mysterious power.
Wow. So the bad guys always lose, right?
Well, the divine ruler came back to life thousands of years later to take his revenge for being imprisoned for so long.
Really? Then what happened?
Coming back to life and escaping from the Ark, the divine ruler had taken a very strange form, one never seen before on this earth. And then he tried to destroy the world. However, there appeared a great hero and a holy mother who carried on the will of all those brave souls of the past, and they stood up to fight this evil divine ruler. It was a long and fierce battle, but in the end, they defeated the divine ruler and sealed him in the Ark once more. However, as a result of all this, the world was badly scarred, and the spirits disappeared from the face of the earth. But something else appeared in their place, beings called Deimos. Humans and Deimos loathed each other, and this led to fierce confrontation. In time, the world was divided in two, with humans living in one half and Deimos in the other. And eventually, it became strictly forbidden for humans and Deimos to associate with one another.
Kharg shares his encounter with the spirit with Paulette, and they decide to search for Banjo, who had caused the commotion earlier. They learn that an old man has been seen wandering around Scrap Plateau, so they set out to investigate after receiving some money. After making a few purchases, including some spirit stones, Kharg and Paulette leave Ubel and head towards Scrap Plateau. Upon arriving at Scrap Plateau, Kharg and Paulette find the old man being attacked by a group of aggressive squirrel-like creatures, and they rush to his aid. After the battle, the old man expresses his gratitude. He introduces himself as Zeb, an explorer of the old world. Noticing a strange birthmark on Kharg's right arm, Zeb inquires about it. Paulette comments that Kharg often touches it when he's stressed. With their mission accomplished, Kharg and Paulette return to Ubel to report to Lloyd. Back in Ubel, Kharg finds Lloyd and Nafia in deep discussion about the recent appearance of Deimos. Kharg reports to Lloyd and inquires about their conversation. Lloyd explains that a group of miners at Plum Canyon has gone missing, and that there have been sightings of Deimos. Kharg dismisses the Deimos as mere creatures that can talk and use tools, calling them nothing more than overgrown monsters and insisting that they pose no real threat to humans. Lloyd explains that Ragnarok is divided into two regions, one for humans and the other for Deimos. He then leaves to investigate the situation at Plum Canyon. Kharg, proud of his recent achievements, defeating Lloyd and the squirrels at Scrap Plateau, declares to his mother that he's ready to join the Defense Corps. Nafia reluctantly agrees, but Kharg senses something is troubling her. Determined, Kharg heads out to speak with Banjo about their supply of spirit stones. After searching the town and briefly mistaking someone for Banjo, Kharg finally finds him. Banjo informs him that while they currently have a good reserve of spirit stones from the Plum Canyon mines, he's concerned about the future as the mine's resources are finite. As Kharg makes his way to the town entrance, he spots Lloyd struggling in with an injured soldier. It appears that the Deimos, as Lloyd feared, have attacked the miners at Plum Canyon. Kharg takes the wounded soldier to his house for treatment, while Paulette gathers the defense corps for reinforcements. Kharg is eager to prove the strength of humans against the Deimos, and insists on joining Lloyd and Paulette on their mission to Plum Canyon. However, Nafia forbids him from going. She lectures Kharg on how hatred only breeds more hatred, and that eventually leads to misery. Upset, Kharg heads to the town square where Lloyd is rallying the defense corps. Lloyd also orders Kharg to stay in U-Belt and protect the town. Determined to find another way, Kharg seeks out his mother again, and she warns him that not all Deimos are hostile towards humans. Kharg then speaks with Morph, who mentions that Nafia's demeanor changed when she heard the Deimos were Drakkars, which is why she insisted Lloyd not to take Kharg with him. As Kharg leaves his house, he overhears Zev knocking on the door to the castle ruins. This gives Kharg the idea to find an alternative route through the Chaos Forest. He sets out to find a gate key to unlock the castle ruins door. Kharg learns from a young gang leader about a monkey-like creature that often steals food in the castle ruins. He speaks with Duncan, who agrees to give Kharg the gate key in exchange for dealing with the monkey creature. Kharg unlocks the castle ruins gate, thanks Zev, and sets out through the castle ruins, eventually entering Chaos Forest. In the depths of Chaos Forest, Kharg finds himself lost. Suddenly, the monkey-like creature appears and fires an arrow at him, warning that this place is no place for humans. Kharg, mistaking the creature for a Deimos, tosses the arrow back, causing the creature to tumble down. The masked boy introduces himself as the king of Chaos Forest. Kharg realizes that the rumored monkey monster is just a boy wearing a mask. The boy introduces himself as Maru. The two are suddenly ambushed by Slothians. Kharg and Maru team up to defeat the attacking monsters. After the battle, Kharg learns that Maru is not just any boy. He is a prince in search of his kingdom where he dreams of becoming king. Though Kharg initially suspects Maru might be a thief, Maru shows him a crown as proof of his royal lineage. Maru, who has always been alone, feels the warmth of companionship for the first time and decides to accompany Kharg on his journey. As Kharg and Maru step into Plum Canyon, they are greeted by a grim scene. Bodies scattered across the area. Maru quickly notices Paulette cornered by a Drakkar and two green lizards. Further ahead, Lloyd is also in dire straits, surrounded by Drakkars. Without hesitation, Kharg and Maru leap into action, rushing to Paulette's aid. After a fierce battle, Maru paces nervously in the background, while Lloyd sternly reprimands Kharg for disobeying orders and coming to the mines. Despite Paulette's defense, arguing that without Kharg's intervention, they might not have survived, Lloyd continues his lecture. He also mentions discovering footprints in Goragne Hills that likely belongs to Deimos. Kharg holds Lloyd in high regard, viewing him as a father figure, a role Kharg solely lacked in his life. Maru, sharing a similar fatherless experience, asks Kharg if he can accompany him to Ubel, though his reasons remain unclear. As they leave the mines, other members of the Defense Corps inform Kharg that despite his stern words, Lloyd seemed more proud than upset by Kharg's actions. On their way back to Ubel, Kharg and Maru pass through Chaos Forest, where they stumble upon a tense scene. Limping towards them are two Deimos, a mother and her child, who collapse and die before reaching safety. Lloyd and Paulette had been forced to kill them, leaving only the husband and the father of the fallen Deimos standing. As Kharg rushes to assist, The lupine-like Deimos swears vengeance before fleeing. In the aftermath, as Kharg, Maru, and Paulette try to make sense of the situation, they notice Lloyd standing off to the side, struggling. Before they can react, Lloyd collapses, succumbing to his injuries from the battle. Back in Ubel, Paulette's grief and anger towards the Deimos fuel the growing racial hatred consuming the world. Kharg, devastated by the loss of his mentor and father figure, reflects on the memories he shared with Lloyd. His sorrow quickly turns to resolve, vowing to protect his people and declaring his determination to stand against the Deimos. A male Drachyr and a human woman, each carrying an infant, race through a forest pursued by other Drachyrs. The woman stumbles, revealing the matching necklaces they both wear. They reach a cliff, trapped. The woman, Nafia, is Kharg's mother, and the Drachyr is presumably his father, Windoff. Before Windoff can act as a decoy to help Nafia and their children escape, the pursuing Drachyrs attack with magic. Windoff shields Nafia and the children, but the ground beneath them collapses. Nafia and one child fall into the abyss, and the cutscene ends as the enemy Drachyrs descend upon a grieving Windoff. An injured Windoff struggles to travel through a desert wasteland, aided by his son, Darc. Despite his wounds, Windoff guides Darc to a safe place, the ruins of a church. With his dying breath, Windoff hands Darc a glimmering stone, expressing hope that the spirits will guide him down his destined path. Time passes, and Darc's screams of pain are heard, accompanied by the sounds of a whipping. As he regains consciousness, a voice urges him to save the Deimos. Guido, his cruel mistress, enters and orders Darc to go to Orkov to buy phoenix blood, giving him gold for the errand. Upon arriving in Orkov, Darc is mocked by Delma, a pink Orcon, who tells him he doesn't belong there and should return home. Darc overhears a conversation between Gorma and Densimo, the current Orcon leader, about a creature that could change the Orcon's future. Densimo intimidates Gorma, a former leader, to maintain control. Darc visits the Korop to purchase phoenix blood, but is mocked for resembling a human. Darc asserts that he is Deimos and purchases the last of the phoenix blood. As Darc leaves, two Orcons ridicule him, calling him a wannabe Deimos. They drag him into the arena for a talk. After the encounter, Delma compliments Darc and suggests he join her brother, Densimo, who is recruiting strong Deimos to drive out humans. Darc declines, but Delma warns him about humans stealing spirit stones, which is essential for Deimos magic. After mocking Darc, Delma leaves. Darc then returns home and gives the phoenix blood to Guido, warning her not to overuse it. Guido dismisses his concern and locks it away. She then orders Darc to catch a furbo, a rare creature that Orcons are obsessed with, hoping to sell it for a high price. Back in Orkov, Darc asks about furbos but learns little. Gorma explains that furbos are a life stage of Pyrons, sky heroes capable of incredible feats. He hoped to raise one to help the Orcons traverse the skies. Gorma shares that furbos need fresh water and can be found on the continent of Aldro. Darc then travels to Hayster Marsh, where he finds and captures a white furbo. As he does, he empathizes with the creature. Suddenly, Delma and two Orcons arrive, also searching for furbos. Darc then distracts them and Delma dismisses their suspicions, asking Darc if he's seen a white creature. Darc deflects with a joke and Delma, impressed, lets him go. Darc takes the furbo to the church ruins, his secret place where his father died. Delma appears, questioning Darc's gentleness, as it's not typical for a Deimos. Delma, intrigued, suggests Darc help her fly in exchange for her silence. They fly together, but their moment is interrupted by a Drachyr, who accuses Darc of being Windoff's traitorous son. The Drachyr demands Windstone, a treasure Windoff stole. Darc refuses and a battle ensues. With Delma's help, they defeat the Drachyr. Delma then teases Darc about his mysterious past, but their conversation is cut short when Darc's slave collar tightens, a warning from Guido. Darc returns home, where Guido demands to know about the furbos. Darc then lies, saying he didn't find any. Guido then punishes him, calling him worthless. In a vision, Windoff appears to Darc, warning of a coming crisis that could come to destroy all Deimos. Windoff tells Darc he has the power to change their fate. Waking up, Darc resolves to protect the furbo and heads to the church ruins. Delma, worried about him, decides to accompany him. Darc and Delma head back to the church ruins where they hear a voice. It seems to be coming from the windstone within Windolf's grave. Delma once again tells Darc that his habit of building tombs for others, especially for Deimos, is strange. She comments that if Darc had time to build a tomb, he should have had time for revenge, an eye for an eye. Darc and Delma check on the furball and find that it has laid many eggs. Delma jokingly says that they look delicious, surprising Darc. Delma experiences happiness for the first time in her life and calls it rather strange. Darc believes that all Deimos should feel this way, and that he wants to build a peaceful world free of war and strife. This is his way of saving the Deimos. Delma spots a group of humans arriving at the church ruins, searching for treasure. Rapier, a human in the group, suggested that they shouldn't be doing this and should be patrolling for Deimos and reporting to Zadora Abyss, but he is shut down by Ludhi. Darc and Delma confront and attack the group to protect Windolf's grave and the furball. After killing the humans, Delma picks up one of the weapons they dropped, noting that it's sharper than a Deimos' natural weapon. She then tells Darc to pick up some weapons too, saying that they would fit much better in his hands. Darc rejects the idea, proud of his Deimos heritage. Since Darc doesn't want to use human weapons, Delma also decides not to use them. However, she tells Darc that he needs to get stronger, as the Drachyr are still after him and he can't defeat them in his current state. Delma suggested that Darc gather more allies, giving him the idea of recruiting her brother, Densimo. Darc and Delma arrive back in Orkov to try and persuade Densimo to join their cause. Darc has trouble getting through, but with Delma's help, they easily pass the two gatekeepers. Darc and Delma speak with Densimo, who calls Darc a wannabe Deimos, but Delma defends him. Delma tells Densimo that Drachyr has attacked Darc, and she wants Densimo to help them. Densimo, rather than helping, tells him to figure it out themselves. Delma tricks Densimo by suggesting that he's afraid of the Drachyr, which enrages him. She lies about the Drachyr mocking Densimo, which angers him even further, and he decides to help Darc with his Drachyr problem. But before he can help with the Drachyr, he needs to deal with the human problem. Delma mentions that they just dealt with a group of humans earlier. Densimo tells Darc that if they help clear up the humans at Zadora Abyss, he will help Darc afterwards. Darc, Delma, and Densimo arrive at Zadora Abyss and see a group of humans patrolling the area with rifles. Delma spots another group of humans mining spirit stones. Densimo wants to rush in, but Darc stops him, wanting to create a strategy. Densimo ignores Darc anyways and rushes straight in, with Delma following him. After clearing out the humans, Densimo compliments Darc's strength and ability in battle and offers him the position of his aide, splitting the land evenly between the both of them. Delma interjects, telling her brother that it's no use since Darc is aiming for something bigger. Darc remains silent, and Densimo tells him that he can give him the answer after they deal with the Drachyr. Darc reflects on how strong humans are due to their cooperation, realizing that when humans work together, the Deimos are bound to lose. The group then heads back to Orkov, but although they want to deal with the Drachyr problem, they don't know where to find them. Densimo suggests they go look for furbos, claiming that eating them makes Deimos stronger. Darc mentions that something is bothering him. Guido hasn't been seen since the morning, and she hasn't tightened his collar at all. Densimo decides that he will have a word with Guido since he can't have his aide being a slave. With this in mind, the group decides to find Guido. The group heads to the Varon Barrens, where they find Guido tied to a tree. Densimo asks Darc if she's doing that for fun. The Drachyr soon arrive and confront the group, demanding the Windstone and threatening Guido's life. As Guido pleads for her life, Darc decides not to give up the Windstone. With the hostage plan failing, the Drachyr have the group surrounded by a horde of green lizard monsters. The Drachyr watch as the group battles the monsters. With Densimo's help, Darc easily defeats the monsters. However, Darc is ambushed by a flying Drachyr, and Densimo is also taken out by another Drachyr's magic. Delma watches as the Drachyr demanded the Windstone from Darc. Darc refuses to give it up, and the Drachyr rips off his wings, forever disabling his ability to fly. With Darc's life in jeopardy, Delma reveals the location of the Windstone, beneath Windolf's tomb at the church ruins. Darc, unconscious, overhears the original plan between Guido and the Drachyr. It seems they work together, hoping to obtain the Windstone, with Guido expecting payment. Darc then regains consciousness and resolves to protect the Windstone. At the church ruins, Darc confronts the Drachyr and Guido as they dig up Windolf's tomb. Guido betrays Darc, revealing that Densimo, who has eaten the Furball, has also betrayed him. Darc questions the Deimos' values, recalling his father's wish to save them. Darc then decides to become the strongest Deimos, even if it means using human weapons. He defeats Guido, Densimo, and the Drachyr, reclaiming the Windstone. A spirit then appears, urging Darc to seek power to save the world from impending doom. Laughing, Darc embraces the idea that power is all that matters. He vows to use it to save the Deimos and become their king. Delma arrives, shocked by the change in Darc. She finds her brother dead and asks if the Drachyr were the ones to kill him. Darc claims responsibility, declaring his intent to gather power and defeat anyone who opposes him. Back in Ubel, Kharg's inauguration ceremony is about to begin. The ruins of the castle are filled with people eagerly conversing as they await the start of the ceremony. Duncan quiets the crowd and introduces Kharg as the new commander of the Defense Corps, succeeding Lloyd, who passed away in the line of duty in the previous chapter. Nafia, Kharg's mother, officially announces his promotion to the position. Kharg speaks to the assembly about the discovery of spirit stones, which have gradually enriched their everyday lives. However, he also warns that these stones have invited chaos, as seen with the recent Drachyr incident. He vows to protect everyone in Ubel and beyond. Nafia then asks Kharg to stop by their house because she has something she wants to give to him. Kharg enters his house and finds Nafia in her bedroom, gazing out the window. Nafia, however, advises him that the Deimos aren't the only threat he should be worrying about, and cautions him not to go out fighting with feelings of hatred. Nafia gives Kharg a blue stone, the same stone that was once on the shelves. It's the Windstone, split in half, the other half given to Windolf, Kharg's father. When Kharg asks about his father, Nafia avoids the question and simply prays for the Windstone's protection over Kharg before leaving the room. After Nafia leaves, a spirit appears before Kharg and urges him to awaken his power to save the world from annihilation. Kharg is confused and dismisses the idea of him saving the world as ridiculous. Nafia promises to tell him everything one day, but insists he must focus on his responsibilities for now. Kharg heads to the inn where Maru is waiting. Maru tells him that Duncan has a new job for them. Inside, Duncan introduces them to a young woman who claims she was robbed. She explains that her fiancé gave her an engagement ring just days ago, but it was stolen by a band of thieves. The woman struggles to provide details about where she lost the ring, but begs Kharg to help recover it. Kharg accepts the request. Next, Kharg visits the refinery where Paulette informs him that Banjo needs a favor. They find Banjo, who explains that Butch went to investigate unusual activity in Plum Canyon and it hasn't returned. Dancing shell monsters have been gathering there and Banjo is worried about Butch. Kharg agrees to check on Butch. With the new requests in mind, Kharg, as the new commander of the Defense Corps, sets out to fulfill his duties. The group arrives at Scrap Plateau, where they find a group of thieves loitering. Kharg confronts them, asking if they stole a ring. The ringleader denies any knowledge of the ring but admits to being involved in thievery. Kharg demands they return everything they've stolen and leave the country. When the ringleader refuses, a battle ensues. After defeating the thieves, they hand over a bracelet instead of a ring. Convinced of their story, Kharg lets them go with a warning to reform their ways. The group discusses who might have stolen the ring, and Paulette suggests they return to the inn to get more details from the young woman. Back in Ubel, the group goes to the inn to speak with the young woman. Duncan apologizes for sending Kharg on a wild goose chase. The young woman confesses she accidentally dropped the ring in the river and made up the theft story, fearing her fiancé would be angry and call off the marriage. Her fiancé, who happens to be in the room, confesses that the ring was a cheap imitation. He then reveals to her that he carved the stone bracelet himself for her engagement, but it was then stolen by thieves. Kharg gives him the stone bracelet he recovered back from the thieves. The couple thanks Kharg, and the young man re-proposes with the bracelet. With the request complete, Duncan commends Kharg for a job well done. Kharg then heads out to check on Butch in Plum Canyon. Upon entering Plum Canyon, Kharg encounters Butch, the man he was tasked to check on. Butch says that they need to find out why the dancing shells are here, but it is too dangerous for him and tasks Kharg instead. Kharg tells Butch to stay put as the group eliminates all the dancing shells. Once the dancing shells have been eliminated, Butch checks out the scenario and figures out the problem. Oil has been leaking out from the old machines, and there was something in the oil that has been attracting the dancing shells. Butch then tells Kharg that once they tighten up the machine handles, the oil should stop leaking, and that should be enough to stop the dancing shells from gathering. Kharg tightens up the machine handles, which stop the oil from leaking before leaving. Kharg and the group return to Ubel, where they encounter a strange man in the inn. The man claims he hid something strange as a child and wants help retrieving it from a location now infested with monsters. The item is in an old pot under a rock at the edge of a sea of trees. The group heads beyond Plum Canyon to the edge of a sea of trees. They find the old pot, but are ambushed by a group of squirrels. After the battle, they return to Ubel. Kharg gives the strange man the old pot, which turns out to contain the Spirit Dictionary Volume 1. The man introduces himself as Span, a scholar from Paces. He explains that the Spirit Dictionary contains information about junior spirits and asks Kharg to find the remaining 4 volumes if he can. Kharg agrees. At the tavern, the group meets Zev, who tells him he saw an airship go down near Dragon Bone Valley. Kharg wants to check for survivors, but Paulette is rather reluctant, fearing that the ship was on an invasion mission. Maru supports Paulette, having heard rumors of a country starting wars for spirit stones. Maru also brings up the concern of Dragonbone Valley being in Deimos territory. Despite the concerns, Kharg insists on helping potential survivors and heads to Dragonbone Valley. Dragonbone Valley is covered in snow. As the group investigates, they find a crashed airship and an unconscious woman. They rush to help her. The woman regains consciousness and introduces herself as Lilia. Lilia explains she was the sole passenger on the airship Big Owl, heading for the World Alliance in the Republic of Katina when she was attacked by the Delsweld army, a country known for waging wars for spirit stones. Suddenly, the group is ambushed by a group of Drakir. Kharg's group protects Lilia and fights off the Drakir. After the battle, they rush back to Ubel. The group exits Deimos territory and enters Isulo Forest. As they talk, an airship from the Delsweld army flies overhead. Crossing a bridge, they encounter an individual guarding the forest. Lilia is then shot by Delsweld soldiers across the bridge. The individual helps Kharg and the group fend off the soldiers. Gans, the individual, takes down the bridge to stop the reinforcements, allowing Kharg's group to eliminate the remaining soldiers and escape. After the battle, Kharg thanks Gans and asks for his help. Gans inspects Lilia's wound and decides to help treat her in a nearby shack. Kharg notices dog tags around Gans' neck and learns he was a mercenary. Gans refuses to join the defense corps, saying he's found something important to protect in the Isulo forest. Kharg respects Gans' decision and promises to protect him as well. With Lilia now able to walk, the group heads back to Ubel. On the way back to Ubel, Lilia expresses her concern about the Delsweld army attacking Ubel if she stays there. Kharg reassures her that it's just not her problem anymore. The invasion is now their problem as well. The group is ambushed by more Delsweld soldiers in flying contraptions. They demand Lilia's surrender, but Kharg refuses, which leads to another battle. Kharg's group defeats the soldiers, but soon find themselves surrounded by more troops. A blonde female commander, Tatjana, introduces herself as Lieutenant Colonel of the Delsweld Army Special Forces Division. She demands Lilia's surrender, threatening a full-scale invasion of Nidelia if she resists. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Lilia surrenders to Tatjana to protect Kharg and the others. As Tatjana takes Lilia away, she follows orders for the execution of everyone who helped Lilia escape. Angered, Kharg touches his birthmark and starts to glow. He unleashes a powerful spell, defeating the soldiers and surprising Tatjana. She flees and Lilia returns to Kharg, astonished by his power. Paulette explains to Kharg that he used spirit magic, a rare ability to borrow power from the spirits. Unaware of his heritage as half Deimos, Kharg's group believes he's a special human capable of using spirit magic. The group safely makes it back to Ubel and heads straight to Nafia to report their findings. Kharg then informs his mother about the Delsweld Empire's invasion plans. Nafia comforts Lilia, expressing that this situation might have occurred sooner or later. Nafia inquires how Lilia ended up in such a predicament. After some hesitation, Lilia reveals that the Delsworld army is after a specific object she possesses. She explains that Emperor Darkham of Delsworld aims to bring every country under his control and is currently gathering items to realize his plan of world domination. When Maru asks about the object's nature, Lilia decides against disclosing the details, fearing that knowledge of it could bring disaster to the entire country. With this information, Nafia decides that Kharg and his group should leave the country immediately, escorting Lilia to the World Alliance Catena. Nafia tells Lilia that their journey isn't just for her safety, but for world peace, as it would disrupt Darkham's plans. Kharg assures everyone that they will reconvene to discuss their next steps tomorrow. Later that night, Kharg is awoken by his mother with the news of Lilia's disappearance. Despite his grogginess, Kharg heads out to find her. Kharg heads towards the castle ruins and hears music being played. He encounters Lilia playing a beautiful melody. She apologizes and expresses regret for not telling the group what she was hiding from the Delsworld. Lilia then asks Kharg if he has heard of the Great Spirit Stones, and reveals that she is in possession of one, the Light Stone. Surprised, Kharg shows her the half of the Windstone his mother gave him for protection. As the two stones are brought near each other, they start to glimmer, and the Light Spirit appears, informing them that when all 5 Great Spirit Stones are gathered together, an infinite power will be born. Lilia then confesses that she has heard voices from the spirits before. Confused about the infinite power, she tells Kharg that Darkham already possesses the Earth Stone. Paulette, who has been eavesdropping, listens as Kharg vows to protect Lilia. Kharg and Lilia then return to Nafia to report on Darkham's plan to gather all 5 Great Spirit Stones. With this information, Kharg realizes that one day, Delsworld might come after him as well. Nafia explains that the Windstone was an heirloom, passed down through the generations of his father's country. However, Nafia avoids telling Kharg the full truth about his father, Windoff. As morning approaches, Maru and Paulette are seen waiting for Kharg and discuss fixing up Big Hour to get him to Catena. The group heads to the inn to speak with Zev about repairing the Big Owl. Zev informs them that he has already inspected the airship and discovered that it only needs new control parts to be functional. The group is able to find and obtain a battery from one of the machines at Plum Canyon. Soon after, the group then heads to Scrap Plateau and uses the newly obtained battery to power up the control panel. With the control panel now active, Kharg operates the platform to make the hangar ascend. With the airship now accessible, Kharg obtains the control parts needed to fix the Big Owl. Before heading to Dragonbone Valley, they decide to check up on Lilia back in Ubel. Kharg returns to Nafia's home and finds Lilia and Nafia discussing Kharg's ability to use spare magic. Nafia seems to be a bit down when she hears about it. Kharg asks Lilia if she's alright, and she assures him that she is. Kharg then reveals their plan to use Big Owl to get to Catena. Lilia then thanks Nafia, who remains silent. Kharg bids his mother farewell as they depart for Dragonbone Valley. As they arrive at Dragonbone Valley, Maru complains about the code and questions Kharg about who will install the control parts to get the Big Owl working. With no other choice, Kharg volunteers to do it himself. The group then spots Gans inspecting the airship and hurries over to speak with him. Gans reveals that, as a former mercenary, he has done a lot of airship maintenance. He asks Kharg for the control parts and proposes a deal. The soldier who once saved Gans' life is on the Aldro, and he wants to go see him. If Kharg agrees to take him there, Gans will fix the airship. Kharg accepts the deal, and Gans joins the party until they reach Catena. From within the ship, Lilia sees Nafia approaching. Kharg leaves the airship to speak with his mother alone. Kharg asks why she came to such a dangerous area, but Nafia explains that she took a path even the Deimos wouldn't know. She mentions that she is quite familiar with the area, having explored it since she was young. Nafia brushes aside additional questions and reminds Kharg that no matter what happens, she and his father Windoff love him very much. With this in mind, Kharg bids his mother farewell once more before taking off, traveling to the continent of Aldro. Inside the Big Owl, Kharg asks Lilia how she came to possess the Lightstone. Lilia explains that in her village, the Lightstone had been secretly passed down for generations. 12 years ago, Darkham heard about it and sent his troops to occupy her village. The villagers entrusted the Lightstone to her parents, who managed to escape. They moved from place to place to evade Darkham and his soldiers. One day, her father gave the Lightstone to her mother and disappeared. Lilia's mother, whose health was deteriorating, eventually passed the stone to Lilia before she died. Suddenly, Big Owl is then ambushed and shot down by an enemy airship. Big Owl crashes, and Kharg is rendered unconscious. Upon regaining consciousness, the group finds out that Lilia has disappeared. Lilia seems to have left a note explaining that she doesn't want to put them in any danger and that she will be alright on her own. Kharg and the group decide to pursue her right away. As they leave Big Owl, they find themselves in a forest of some sort. They soon encounter a group of Orcons, indicating that they have landed on Aldro. A battle ensues between the Orcons and Kharg's group. After defeating the Orcons, Kharg and the group explore the surroundings for any traces of Lilia. Instead of finding her, they encounter a group of Delsweld soldiers. Kharg and the group defeat the pursuing soldiers. With the additional threat of the Deimos, the group hurries to find Lilia before the Delsweld army does. As they continue through a Shido forest, they encounter more Delsweld soldiers and eventually Tatjana. Surrounded by numerous soldiers, the group finds themselves in a precarious situation. However, before anything bad could happen, Samson, the leader of the Moonstone Gang of Thieves, arrives to help Kharg. Confident until Samson reveals they are surrounded by his gang, Tatjana decides to retreat. Although a gang of thieves, Samson only steals from Delsweld. He offers Kharg and his group a safe place to hold up in his lair, as Deimos may appear. Samson promises to have his men look for Lilia in the meantime. Kharg accepts the offer and Samson tells Kharg to meet them at Wellbur Shore. Kharg and his group make their way to Wellbur Shore and find Samson's ship. Samson, intrigued by the Delsweld army's pursuit of Lilia, guesses that she possesses something valuable. Kharg tries to play dumb, but Samson knows that it's the Lightstone that they're after. Kharg asks for Samson's help, but Samson declines the offer. Samson's men report that Lilia managed to get through a Shido forest and was seen entering the Republic of Katana, with the Delsweld army close behind her. Kharg decides that they need to leave immediately for Katana. Upon arriving in Katana, Kharg and his group participate in some arena battles. They then head to the assembly hall, only to find that the World Alliance is already in session and that no one is allowed inside without authorization. Kharg informs the guard about Lilia's situation and is granted special permission to enter. Gans returns to a Shido forest as per their deal, expressing concern about Big Owl. He plans to fix it up and move it closer to Katana in the meantime. Inside the assembly hall, a group of individuals discuss about the current situation regarding the Delsweld's invasion of multiple countries. It seems that Lilia has yet to arrive to testify against the Delsweld army. Kharg interrupts the meeting and explains Lilia's situation to the assembly. Realizing that Samson has tricked him into believing Lilia made it to Katana, the group of ambassadors debates whether or not to trust Kharg and his group. Frustrated and impatient, Kharg decides to leave and search for Lilia himself. Back in Orkoth, the Orcons engage in combat with one another to entertain the spectators while Darc watches from the throne that once belonged to Densimo. Having defeated Densimo, Darc is now the mightiest Deimos and the ruler of Orkoth. He seeks to unite the strongest Deimos under his leadership and uses the arena fights to identify potential recruits. Darc emphasizes his desire for Deimos who are strong-willed enough to even challenge himself. One Deimos in particular who defies Darc is currently locked up in the dungeon. This Deimos is Delma, and an Orcon informs Darc that she is causing trouble. Darc commands his underlings to banish all the weaklings from Orkoth, then makes his way to the dungeon to confront Delma. He offers her freedom in exchange for her allegiance, as he needs her strength to unify the Deimos. Delma refuses, still furious that Darc killed her brother who took his place. Darc defends his actions by reminding her that Densimo betrayed him. However, Delma remains unconvinced and asks him to kill her. Frustrated, Darc leaves after Delma accuses him of changing. As Darc departs Orkoth, an Orcon mentions an intriguing egg at the church ruins. Curious, Darc decides to investigate. Upon arriving at the church ruins, Darc is overjoyed to discover that a Furbo egg has survived Densimo's attack. Concerned about the egg's safety, he assigns an underling to guard it. Satisfied with the security of the Furbo's future, Darc returns to Orkoth. Back in the arena, Darc is informed by his underling that an incredibly strong Deimos has appeared. Darc learns that the Deimos is a massive lupine from the continent of Ragnoth and has defeated all the Deimos in the arena. As Darc enters the arena, he sees a huge blue lupine Deimos howling. It's the lupine that killed Lloyd, Paulette's father, in the first chapter of Kharg's story. The lupine comments on Darc's human smell, and Darc responds by calling him a dog, stating that he is neither human nor Deimos, but rather someone destined to become the Deimos King. Darc attempts to recruit the lupine into his service, but the lupine insists that he doesn't serve weaklings and that only the strongest can become the alpha. Both agree to a duel, and the lupine introduces himself as Volk, meaning Avenger of Kin. Darc overpowers Volk in the duel and asks him why he harbors such hatred for humans. Volk explains the humans took everything dear to him: his wife, Irena, his son, Nazar, his entire lupine pack, and his pride as a Deimos. He shows Darc the scar inflicted upon him by humans, and expresses his determination to restore his honor, pride, and dignity by eradicating the human race. Darc tells Volk that he wouldn't accomplish anything alone and would likely die without achieving his goals. He proposes that Volk lend him his strength to unify the Deimos and defeat the humans. Volk agrees to join Darc and swears an oath to his divine protector to become Darc's fangs and tear his enemies apart. With a new ally by his side, Darc revisits the dungeon as his underling reports that Delma is looking for him and acting rather strangely. Darc talks to Delma alone, and she reveals that Densimo had done terrible things to her, and she has been contemplating a lot lately. Darc releases Delma and promises to create a peaceful world free from war for the Deimos. Delma admits she was mistaken and joins Darc. Volk interrupts, and Darc introduces the two. Determined to recruit more allies, Darc plans to explore other continents, believing that there are no more strong Deimos left on Aldro. As they leave Orkoth, an Orcon reports to Darc about a strange light that led to Ashida Forest. Volk states that it is a human airship flying across the skies. The group then decide to head to Ashida Forest to investigate further. Upon entering Ashida Forest, the group is then attacked by Delsweld's soldiers. After defeating the soldiers, they discuss the reasons behind the humans' presence and decide to track down any other humans in the area. As they explore, they find more Delsweld soldiers near Big Owl searching for Lilia. And soon, a battle ensues as they notice Darc. Darc realizes that humans are searching for someone named Lilia. When Delma tries to explore Big Owl, Volk stops her, warning that touching human-made objects would bring disaster. Confused, Delma reminds Volk that both she and Darc are using human weapons. Darc devises a plan to capture Lilia before the humans do to gain the upper hand. As they continue exploring, they encounter a group of Delswell soldiers led by Tatjana. Darc discovers that Lilia is actually a human girl. After defeating Tatjana, she threatens Darc's group before using a device to turn her invisible, allowing her to escape. Volk, however, can still track her scent and decides to pursue her. Darc and Delma are astonished by the humans' technology and become concerned for the safety of the Deimos. Suddenly, they notice something moving in the bushes and chase after it. Darc and Delma then arrive at a lake and deduce that the figure might have been Lilia. They split up to search for her. Darc approaches Lilia's location as she prays for her own safety. She finds Lilia, who tells him to stay away. And with Darc's back turned, Delma attacks him at a crucial moment, seeking revenge. Darc, confused, asks Delma why. Despite Densimo's cruel treatment, Delma still felt loyalty to her brother. Darc falters and falls unconscious. Perplexed by the situation, Lilia decides to tend to Darc's wounds, but is unsure of what to do next. Darc then regains consciousness, and upon realizing Lilia has saved his life, asks her why. Lilia simply responds that she helped because he was hurt. Darc, realizing that Lilia doesn't differentiate between humans and Deimos, asks for her name. Instead of introducing herself, Lilia then asks Darc to introduce himself first, as that is the human way. They exchange introductions, and Darc asks why the humans are after her. As she is about to tell Darc, the light spirit appears and speaks of the infinite power when all the stones are brought together. Darc, confused, wonders why the light spirit appeared instead of the wind spirit. He shares that the wind spirit appeared before him once and that he has the windstone. Realizing that gathering all the stones would grant immense power, Darc infers the reasoning behind the Drachyr pursuing his Windstone and the humans seeking Lilia's Lightstone. Lilia tries to feign ignorance, but Darc doesn't fall for it. He demands that she give up the Lightstone, but she refuses. When Darc threatens to kill her, Lilia mentions her mother, touching on a soft spot within Darc. Instead of taking her Lightstone, he offers her to tag along, believing she may have answers to his questions. With no other options, Lilia agrees to follow Darc. Darc and Lilia return to Ashita Forest and find Volk. Surprised to see a human girl with them, Volk asks Darc why he hasn't killed her. Darc tells him to back off, explaining that she is valuable. He then tricks Volk, who then tells Darc that Lilia is now his responsibility. Darc reveals to Volk that Delma has betrayed him, but when Volk offers to hunt her down, Darc declines and they head back to Orkoth. As Darc enters Orkoth, he sees Delma boasting to the other Orkhons that she killed Darc in Ashita Forest. As Darc appears behind Delma, the other Orkhons are shocked to see him alive. Delma, confused, notices Darc behind her, and to her surprise, asks how he is still alive. Darc then talks to Delma one-on-one and asks her if she really wants him dead, and tells her to do a better job next time. Darc then dismisses her attempt on his life, simply stating that he needs strong Deimos to help unify the Deimos. Delma pouts, calling Darc crazy, and asks what she should do now. Darc tells her to stay close, as she'll need to be near him for her next attempt at killing him. Delma understands and vows to one day kill Darc. Darc finds Lilia surrounded by Orkhons and tells him that she is his guest, and that harming her in any way is forbidden. He orders his underlings to put Lilia in the dungeon. Volk then questions Darc's decision to spare Delma, and Darc simply states that he needs strong allies by his side. Afterwards, he heads to the dungeon and dismisses his underling before talking with Lilia. Lilia finds that Darc is different from other Deimos. He has a kind heart. Darc asks Lilia to tell him everything she knows about the Great Spirit Stones, but she says she doesn't know, as her mother passed away before telling her. Darc comments on their similarity, as Windolf also handed him the Windstone on his deathbed. Lilia asks Darc if his mother happened to be a human, and tells him about Kharg, a human she met who has the other half of the Windstone. Before Lilia can tell Darc that Kharg may even be his brother, Darc cuts her off and demands owning information regarding the locations of the other Great Spirit Stones. Lilia says that she doesn't know, and even if she did, she wouldn't be able to tell him because he plans to use the power to fulfill his ambitions. Darc threatens to leave her in the dungeon until she tells him. The threat works, and Lilia tells Darc that the Delswold army currently has the Earthstone, and that she has no information regarding the other two stones. Lilia pleads with Darc to let her out, as she needs to tell the World Alliance about Delswold's plan to dominate the world. Darc takes on the responsibility of defending the Deimos and leaves Lilia. He shares the information regarding the Great Spirit Stones with Delma and Volk. They need to gather more information and find a way to get off the continent. Darc pays Gorma a visit, and Gorma tells Darc the necessary steps to evolve a Furbo into the Great Pyron, a rebound fruit, phoenix blood, and a fire fragment. By feeding a Furbo all three items, it will then transform into a Pyron. Darc and the group head over to the church ruins to check on the Furbo egg. The group hears the sound of a Furbo, and Darc tells Delma that there was an egg that survived. The group rushes to the nest and finally meets the new Furbo. With plans to raise it into a Pyron, Darc heads out to gather the required items. Darc arrives at Guido's house and unlocks the chest that had once been sealed by Guido's spell. Inside, Darc discovers phoenix blood and a peculiar ancient tablet. He sets out once again to gather the necessary items. Darc and the group head to Tindalos Woods to hunt down Crimson Rokes to obtain the rebound fruit. After a successful hunt, Darc and the others head back to Orkoth. Back in Orkoth, Darc informs Gorma that he has found a Furbo and requests the creation of a fire fragment. Gorma can produce a fragment using some spirit stones, although it will take some time. With the items in hand, Darc returns to the church ruins and feeds the Furbo the rebound fruit. The Furbo appears to be thriving, so Darc continues with the phoenix blood. Seeing that the Furbo remains healthy after 2 of the 3 items, Darc heads back to Orkoff for the final ingredient, the fire fragment. Upon checking Gorma's train cart, Darc finds it empty. He learns that Gorma is in the dungeon, so Darc goes there alone. He discovers Lilia performing a beautiful song with her Ortena to an audience of Orcons, including Gorma. Gorma then informs Darc that the fire fragment is finished and has been left at the Kharg market. After leaving the dungeon, Volk warns Darc that Lilia's influence is troubling, as her kindness is affecting the Deimos. Darc retrieves the fire fragment from the Kharg market, having paid 500 gold. With the final component secured, Darc then returns to the church ruins. Darc arrives and gives the Furbo the fire fragment. The Furbo suddenly collapses, and Darc returns to Orkoff to confront Gorma. Entering Orkoff, the group notices an unsettling silence. Darc finds one of Lilia's belongings on the ground. Volk detects the scent of blood and alerts Darc to the danger. The group sees numerous bodies scattered across the streets and decides to investigate further. Darc consults the Kharg, who reveals that humans have attacked Orkoff, with the surviving Orcons taking refuge in the arena. Darc heads to the arena and asks Gorma what happened. Gorma explains to Darc that the humans came to abduct Lilia, apparently orchestrated by the Delsworld army. Darc and his group set out to confront the humans. Darc and his team make their way to the Varan Barrens, where they find the Delsworld army stationed. The soldiers are preparing a machine designed to defend against potential Deimos attacks. Darc and his group engage in battle with this machine. As they are occupied, the Delsworld army escapes in their airship, leaving Darc and his companions behind. Feeling a strange pang in his chest as he thinks of Lilia's abduction, Darc hears a voice behind him. The machine actually housed a Deimos named Camellia. She thanks him for her rescue and reveals that she was captured and exploited by the Delsworld army. Tension rises between Delma and Camellia when Camellia mentions that the humans are searching for something called the Miracle Stone. She explained that the Miracle Stone is a legendary magical artifact from Pianta lore. Darc suspects that it might be a spirit stone and asks for its location. Camellia tells him that it's located in the middle of the continent of Adenade, specifically in the throne room of the Kolept Shrine. Eager to pursue the lead, Darc is about to set off when Camellia requests to join him. She entices Darc with her knowledge of the Kolept Labyrinth, and he agrees to let her come along. With a new ally, the group heads back to Orkoff to discuss the Furbo situation with Gorma. Darc converses with Gorma in his train cart, and Gorma explains further that Furbos enter a deep slumber during the transformations with Pyrons. Darc then thanks Gorma for his assistance and offers him the chance to be the first person to ride the newly evolved Pyron before departing. Darc heads to the church ruins to check on the Furbo. His underling reports that the Furbo has suddenly burst into flames, transforming into a massive monster. Elated, Darc praises the underling for his successful work and sends him back to Orkoff. Darc approaches the Pyron in awe as Camellia remarks on witnessing a legendary Pyron. Darc instructs the Pyron to transport them to Adenade, and the Pyron takes off. Pyrons can voluntarily increase their size, and after expanding, the Pyron effortlessly lifts the group and soars through the sky, reaching Adenade swiftly. The Pyron sets them down near a water source, as Pyrons require proximity to waterlands for their diet, much like the previous form, the Furbo. Darc and his team proceed toward the Kolept Shrine. Upon arriving at the Kolept Shrine, Camellia warns Darc that the Kolepts who guard the shrine are fearless warriors. Tension flares between Camellia and Delma once more, but Darc intervenes and insists they press on. As they approach the shrine, a Kolept warns them that crossing a certain boundary will label them as intruders and requests they leave immediately. Darc decides to ignore the warning and force their way inside. After dealing with the guards outside, the group enters the shrine. Inside, Darc encounters enormous purple tentacles emerging from the walls. The tentacle speaks, demanding that they leave. As more vibrations occur, the tentacle retreats back into its hole. Volk then hears human voices and the group rushes further inside. They find Delsworld soldiers hurrying through a large opening in the wall. Darc and his companions confront the soldiers and eliminate them. The remaining Delsworld troops move deeper into the shrine, suggesting that their primary objective, the Delsworld commander, must be ahead. The group then chases after them. In the next chamber, they see Delswell soldiers approaching a chest they believe contains the Miracle Stone. Darc urges the group to hurry, but Camellia suddenly suffers from a stomach ulcer and they leave her behind. As the Delswell soldiers get closer to the chest, they trigger a pressure plate that lowers a bridge, trapping Darc, Volk, and Delma. Camellia is then seen laughing, revealing that the chest does not contain the Miracle Stone, but rather the most powerful and malevolent monster ever created by the Divine Ruler, Bebedora. Camellia then moves on to the throne room in search of the Miracle Stone. The chest opens to reveal what appears to be a young girl who introduces herself as Bebedora. The Delswell soldiers, feeling threatened, are subdued by Bebedora's puppeteer powers, and she then turns her attention to Darc and his group. After dispatching the soldiers, Bebedora summons 2 more to attack Darc's group. Following the defeat of Bebedora's puppets, Volk offers to confront Bebedora, but Darc decides to speak with her instead. Darc tries to empathize with Bebedora, explaining that they have no intention of fighting her. Bebedora, with the ability to see the color of souls, perceives the clear blue sky within Darc's soul, indicating his sincerity. Bebedora remarks on Darc's enigmatic soul, neither Deimos, human, nor monster. As Darc attempts to leave, Bebedora jumps down, intrigued by Darc's soul, and insists on accompanying him. Despite Delma's objections, Bebedora refers to Darc as her master and joins them. The group then follow Camellia to the throne room, where Camellia is seen surrounded by purple tentacles, pleading for forgiveness from Selkis, the queen of the Colept. Camellia rushes back to Darc, seeking help. Surrounded by eggs, Selkis summons numerous offspring to attack the intruders. After a prolonged battle, Darc's group defeats Queen Selkis. Darc obtains the Miracle Stone, which turns out to be a Great Spirit Stone, specifically the Water Stone. The Water Spirit then appears before them, advising that fighting and hatred solve nothing, and urges them to save the world from the encroaching darkness before vanishing. Darc, hardened by betrayal and driven by the Deimos' pursuit of power, disregards the Water Spirit's counsel. He resolves to use strife and hatred as tools to achieve his goals and save the Deimos. Kharg's journey begins once again in Catena. He and his companions, unable to locate Lilia, return to the assembly hall. Here, they are informed that they will be granted special permission if Kharg retrieves a personal letter from Navia, the Nadilian delegate. As Kharg and his group express their frustration, the Milmarnan delegate departs but requests a moment with Kharg. He follows her, and she introduces herself as Savina. Savina divulges that Delswell has invaded another country, Epistia, and appears to be gearing up for a full-scale war against the World Alliance. Kharg shares with Savina that Darkham plans to conquer the entire world and details the method behind his intentions. Savina recalls the existence of a flame egg hidden within the volcanoes of Epistia, which Kharg identifies as the Firestone. It seems the Delswell army has targeted Epistia to acquire this powerful artifact. Savina informs Kharg and his companions that Epistia lies across the ocean, west of Aldro and east of Halshin. She also mentions that key areas in the capital, Sofas, and across the country has already fallen to Delswell. Their conversation is interrupted by a soldier reporting that the Delswell army's flying battleship has just departed from Baram Barrens. The soldier also mentions that a girl around 16 or 17 years old has been taken aboard, and the group realizes that this girl is Lilia. Angry and concerned, Kharg asks the soldier about the Magus' destination and learns it is heading westward. Kharg decides to return to Big Owl to intercept the Firestone. Before his departure from Catena, Savina advises him to seek out Spencer upon arriving in Epistia, as he could provide valuable assistance. Outside the assembly hall, Kharg encounters Gans, who informs him about a man in the same unit as the individual Gans is searching for in the arena. Kharg and his companions make their way to the arena to gather information about a person named Rapier. The soldiers there reveal that Rapier was killed some time ago by Deimos near Orkov. This news infuriates Gans, prompting him to join Kharg's group. Kharg and his companions board the Big Owl, setting a course for Sophos, the capital of Epistia. As they journey onward, the group encounters a Delsweld checkpoint on Kassam Highway. Gans suggests they answer the guard's questions carefully. The group then confronts the checkpoint guard, and with ease, they successfully answer all the questions, allowing them to pass through. Upon arriving in Sophos, the group witnesses a Delsweld unit marching toward Kassam Highway. They begin their search for Spencer. As Kharg explores the city, he notices the citizens withholding information about the resistance from the soldiers. With the Delsweld soldiers in control of most shops, Kharg is unable to resupply. Kharg then heads to the pub, hoping to find more information about Spencer. The pub owner claims ignorance about Spencer's identity. Kharg senses the lie, pointing out that Spencer was once a general, leading the pub owner to correct himself. When Kharg brings up the resistance, the owner warns him to keep his voice down. Failing to gather any useful information, Kharg leaves the pub. Next, Kharg enters the equipment shop and finds a Delsweld soldier harassing a woman about her husband's whereabouts. The soldier threatens to take her in, but Kharg intervenes, telling the soldier he has seen the man at Kassam Highway. The woman looks concerned, but Kharg assures her that he was referring to himself. As Kharg reveals his intentions to thwart the Delsweld army's plans, the woman confides that her husband is aiding the resistance and is the only one who knows their location. She believes he might be secretly trading in town and gives Kharg a password to identify himself. Kharg then locates her husband, Jaqua, in a secluded corner of the city. Initially, Jaqua denies his identity, but upon hearing the password, he asks Kharg what he wants. Kharg inquires about the resistance and learns that they operate from a secret casino beneath the pub, accessible via a hidden passageway. Equipped with this information, Kharg returns to the pub and confronts the owner about the secret casino. Instead of giving directions, the owner presents Kharg with a riddle. Kharg solves the riddle and discovers the hidden pathway to the casino. Inside the secret casino, Kharg meets Spencer, the Resistance's general. Kharg introduces himself, mentioning Savina's recommendation, and shares his mission to stop Darkham's plans. In a corner of the room, Kharg hears his name being called. He finds Zev, who explains that the Resistance suspects him of being a Delsweld spy. Kharg vouches for Zev, and the Resistance releases him. In a conversation with Zev, he discloses that the Delsweld army is constructing a stronghold halfway up the volcano. He was searching for a treasure called the Flame Egg at Mount Quena. Kharg informs Spencer that Darkham is after the Flame Egg, also known as the Firestone, and reveals all he knows. Spencer explains that their first priority is to liberate Sophos from the Delsweld army. To achieve this, they must eliminate the other garrisons to prevent reinforcements from arriving during the assault on the main plant. Spencer instructs Kharg that the garrisons are located at Viorov Mine and Paren's ruins. Kharg and his companions set out to dismantle these garrisons. As Kharg and his companions leave Sophos, they once again traverse the Kassam Highway. During their journey, they overhear a group of Delsweld soldiers receiving orders to eliminate individuals resembling Kharg and his companions. The soldiers soon notice Kharg, triggering a confrontation. After a small skirmish, Kharg warns his companions that next time, Delsweld soldiers won't hesitate to attack on sight. The group agrees, preparing themselves for future encounters. Kharg and his companions arrive at Paren's ruins, the site of a Delsweld garrison. They storm the area, swiftly neutralizing the garrison and confirming the destruction of Delsweld's weapon supply source. With this mission accomplished, they proceed to the next garrison location. The group charges through Viorov Mine, dismantling machines and defeating Delsweld soldiers. Eventually, they successfully eliminate another Delsweld army garrison. With both garrisons taken out, the group returns to Sophos to confront the main plant and reclaim the city. Kharg and his allies make their way to the main plant, where they overhear Delsweld soldiers discussing their loss of communication with both Viorov Mine and Paren's ruins. Believing the resistance is responsible, they prepare for an attack. As Kharg and his companions rush in, the officer in charge realizes that Kharg is behind the communication disruptions. However, it's too late, and Kharg and his companions engage the soldiers. With the Delswold soldiers now defeated, Kharg liberates the main plant and frees Sophos from Delswold's control. Now, the group sets their sight on attacking the mountain stronghold, but first returns to consult with General Spencer. Back at the Resistance hideout, Spencer praises Kharg for his efforts. Kharg is eager to assault the mountain stronghold, but Spencer cautions that it won't be easy due to the presence of 3 massive canyons. Some Resistance members, overconfident, suggest that they could have accomplished what Kharg and his companions did just as easily. Maru mocks their fragile egos, and the members leave to attack the stronghold on their own. Concerned, Spencer asks Kharg to retrieve them. Kharg and his team head out to the mountain stronghold. Upon reaching the stronghold, Kharg and his companions witness a fast-paced battle against the Resistance and Delswold soldiers. Unfortunately, the situation turns dire for the Resistance once the canyons are deployed. Kharg and his companions rush in to rescue the remaining Resistance members, saving the survivors and retreating back to Sophos. Spencer once again commends Kharg and acknowledges the significant threat posed by the canyons. In addition to the canyons, the stronghold's location on sheer cliffs make a frontal assault the only viable option. Maru suggests attacking from an airship, but Spencer laments that other airships were destroyed by Delswold during the invasion. Maru then proposes using Big Owl, but Paulette points out that Big Owl isn't equipped for combat. Spencer then recalls a beam canyon, a recent Delswold army invention, that's located at the main plant. He suggests equipping Big Owl with this beam canyon. Kharg and the others head towards the main plant, where Spencer outlines a plan to control Big Owl remotely, while Kharg and his companions engage the enemy on the ground. However, they require a specific device called a teleop, which can be crafted from 3 components: an antenna, a magnetron, and an integrated circuit, all available at the Peren's ruins. Additionally, they need at least 200 spirit stones to power the beam, which can be sourced from Viorov mine. Kharg and his companions set out to gather the necessary items. In Peren's ruins, Kharg salvages essential components for their mission. He extracts a magnetron from a microwave, an antenna from an old radio, and an integrated circuit from a computer. As they attempt to leave, a group of ninja ambushes Kharg and his companions, and after a fierce battle, they defeat the ninjas and proceed to Viorov mine to gather the necessary spirit stones to power the beam canyon. At Viorov mine, Kharg sets off an explosive, revealing a trove of spirit stones. With their haul complete, the group returns to Sophos. Back in Sophos, Kharg and his team head directly to the main plant. Spencer then informs them that they have successfully mounted the beam canyon onto Big Owl. With everything prepared, the group is ready to confront the mountain stronghold. Kharg and his companions launch their attack on the mountain stronghold. Using Big Owl, Kharg targets and destroys all the canyons, swiftly dealing with the remaining soldiers. After securing the area, the group pushes further into the stronghold. They fight their way through numerous enemies until they reach an elevator that transports them down into the volcano. To their surprise, Zev appears and informs them that he knows the Firestone's location. He explains that it's near the crater, surrounded by a shrine built by ancient peoples. Thanking Zev for his insight, Kharg and his companions descend deeper into the volcano. As they make their way down, a scene unfolds aboard Megest, where Darkham is seen with Lilia discussing the number of great spirit stones that remain. Back at the volcano, Tatjana and a group of Delswold soldiers are advancing towards the shrine and the Firestone. As they near the Firestone, 3 formidable Deimos appear, attacking Tatjana and her forces to defend the relic. The Deimos, planning to have fun with Tatjana after eliminating the men, are interrupted by Kharg and his group who have arrived on the scene. Ignoring past animosities, Kharg decides to aid Tatjana, reasoning that Deimos pose a greater threat to humanity. Despite objections from his companions who remind him of Tatjana's past attempts on their lives, Kharg insists on rescuing her from the Deimos. The group then engages in battle with the 3 Deimos and manages to defeat them. Tatjana, bewildered and astonished, questions why Kharg helped her. Kharg responds that he couldn't stand by and watch her fall to the Deimos, and advises her to simply go home if she's grateful. However, Tatjana quickly turns on Kharg, pulling out her gun and reaffirming her loyalty to Darkham. She rushes towards the Firestone as Maru grumbles in frustration. Kharg and his companions catch up, only to see Tatjana struggling to claim the Firestone. Kharg explains to her that the Firestone isn't accepting her and urges her to reconsider her allegiance to Darkham. Nevertheless, she remains steadfast in her loyalty. Suddenly, the Firestone begins to glow, and Kharg is enveloped in a blue aura. The Fire Spirit materializes, declaring that love and harmony are its final wishes. Kharg successfully claims the Firestone, but Darkham makes a sudden appearance. He threatens Kharg by holding Lilia's life in the balance and proposes a trade. The Firestone for Lilia. As Kharg hesitates, Lilia pleads with him not to surrender the Firestone. Maru attempts to negotiate, suggesting that they have Tatjana as a hostage and demanding Lilia's release. Darkham coldly responds that Tatjana would willingly sacrifice herself, and she confirms this. Kharg agrees to the exchange under certain conditions, to which Darkham consents. After handing over the Firestone, Kharg starts crossing a bridge to reach Lilia. However, Darkham signals the soldier to detonate an explosive on the bridge, sending Kharg and his companions tumbling down. Kharg regains consciousness but finds himself trapped in the volcano with an eruption imminent. With the clock ticking, Samson arrives overhead with his airship, ready to rescue Kharg and the others. Tatjana, resigned to her fate, reveals that Darkham considered her expendable, using her as a mere tool. Kharg manages to convince her to choose life and escape with them. Aboard the Megist, we see more of Darkham along with a familiar cane, hinting at his next move. Darc and his companions strolled through town, with Camellia pleading for forgiveness as Delma, the hypocrite, criticizes her betrayal. Meanwhile, a Drakir spies on them, threatening Darc's freedom. Sensing danger, Darc turns around but sees nothing. Volk suggests it might be exhaustion. With the group feeling fatigued, they decide to split up and take some time for themselves. Darc heads straight to the inn for some rest. However, sleep eludes Camellia due to Delma's loud snoring. Unable to shake off the feeling of impending doom, Volk gets up and heads for a drink. Noticing that Darc is now alone, Camellia visits him. Later, Darc awakens enraged, realizing someone has been tampering with his belongings. He discovers the water stone is missing and notices Camelia's absence. With no leads on her whereabouts, the group sets out to find her. Darc heads to the arena where he finds Camellia chanting to heal her body, weakened by the power of the Earth Spirit. She is then surrounded by a group of Drakir and a mysterious Deimos. As Darc enters the arena, he sees the group of Drakir and the enigmatic Deimos stealing the water stone from Camellia, who begs for its return. Feeling threatened, Camellia runs to Darc for help. The rest of Darc's companions arrive, with Delma demanding the water stone. The mysterious Deimos, Draguza, confronts Darc and his companions, demanding Darc's windstone. Draguza reveals his ambition to become the king of Deimos, just like Darc, before they engage in combat. After a fierce battle, Darc and his companions defeat the Drakir, leaving Draguza alone. Darc demands the water stone, but Draguza casts a blinding spell, which enables him to escape safely, while warning Darc not to trust his companions. The group then discuss Draguza's background, noting that they have never seen a Deimos like him before. They decide to rest and plan to leave the next morning. The following morning, Darc asks Camellia what happens when all 5 Great Spirit Stones are gathered. Camellia explains that Deimos evolved from monsters with the help of the Great Spirit Stones, and gathering all 5 would create the ultimate Deimos, the most powerful being in existence. Darc and his companions then set off for Ragnoth. Darc and his companions travel to Drakirna, the homeland of the Drakir, where buildings cling to cliffs and Drakir soar above. Upon arriving, Darc remarks on the unusual silence, given the Drakir's previous hostility toward him. Seeking information, Darc speaks with an old Drakir who notices his resemblance to Windolf and his birthmark, concluding that Darc is of Windolf's bloodline. Darc inquires about the Waterstone and Draguza's location. but Sagan has no information and refers him to the elder, Willow. When Darc meets Willow, Sagan informs the elder of Darc's heritage. Willow explains that Windolf neglected his duties as the Drakir leader, broke Deimos' law by being with a human woman, and stole the Drakir's treasure, the Windstone. Windolf's crimes nearly ruined the Drakir, leading to his banishment. However, Willow offers to provide information about Draguza if Darc can pass the dragon ordeal, a test for aspiring Drakir leaders. Success would pardon Windolf's crimes and make Darc the new leader of the Drakir, turning Draguza and his followers into enemies of the Drakir. Darc agrees to the challenge and is tasked with retrieving the Dragon Master Crown from the Dragonbone Valley Cave, a quest that he must undertake alone. Upon reaching Dragonbone Valley, Darc and his companions search for the cave. Before entering, Darc instructs his companions to wait outside as he must face his trial alone. Inside the cave, he discovers a shrine guarded by 2 massive dragons. On the shrine lies the Dragon Master Crown. Darc takes the crown, remarking on the ease of the task. As he attempts to leave, the dragons awaken and question him about his lineage. Darc speaks of Windolf, and the dragons recognize the mark on his arm as the crest of Will, a sign of Will's descendants, dragons reborn as Deimos. Confirming Darc's lineage, the dragons revealed that Willow is his grandfather, the father of Windolf. The dragons engage Darc in battle, testing his worthiness. After defeating them, Darc earns their recognition as the new leader of the Drakir. However, Darc rejects the position, declaring his intent to rule over all Deimos instead. The dragon then informs him that his Windstone is incomplete, possessing only half of its true power. Darc bids them farewell and exits the cave. Rejoining his companions, Darc informs them of their next destination, back to Drakirna. Back in Drakirna, Darc tells his companions he must speak with Willow alone. Delma protests, reminding Darc that they are his friends. Darc dismisses this idea, stating that this matter is personal. Inside Willow's room, the elder struggles, revealing his own crest of will. Darc demands to know Draguza's whereabouts. Willow reveals that Draguza is likely at Dunor Point, where the Delsworld humans have a base camp. He explains that Draguza and his Drakir followers are collaborating with the Delsworld. Darc inquires about his father, Windolf. Willow recounts how Nafia, a human girl, seduced Windolf, desiring the Windstone. When cornered, Nafia and her baby fell off a cliff, presumed dead. Willow reveals that Nafia gave birth to twins, Darc and Kharg. Darc reflects on his lost twin, imagining the trials and pain they both might have endured. He remains alone, believing his twin is dead. Rejoining his companions, Darc shares the news about Draguza's location. Before departing, Volt expresses his solidarity, claiming they share the same goals and considers himself an ally, perhaps even a friend. En route, Darc and his companions encounter a blockade of Delsworld soldiers and Drakir at the Vayu Dam ruins. They fight their way through and continue toward Dunor Point. Upon arriving at Dunor Point, Darc and his companions confront Draguza and a group of Delsworld soldiers. A fierce battle ensues, and despite the challenges, Darc and his companions emerge victorious. As Darc attempts to kill Draguza, he learns that Draguza doesn't possess the Water Stone. Before he can process this information, they are ambushed by Delsworld reinforcements. Darc's companions stay behind to deal with the reinforcements, while Darc pursues Draguza and boards the Megist. Inside the Megist, Darkham converses with Lilia. Darkham reveals his plan to gather all 5 Great Spirit Stones and mentions using Lilia for his schemes. Lilia refuses to cooperate, but Darkham threatens her, instructing his soldiers to bring in Nafia. Darc overhears 2 soldiers conversing about Nafia and Lilia. He tries to enter the room, but finds it locked. Instead, he locates a vent and decides to help Lilia, recalling how he owes her a debt. Inside the room, Darc witnesses Lilia and Nafia conversing. He returns Lilia's Ortena, stating his primary objective is to retrieve the Water Stone, and saving her is a secondary concern. Nafia spots Darc, questioning his presence. Darc advises Lilia to never let go of something important, casting another glance at Nafia. As Darc attempts to leave, Nafia joyfully recognizes him as her son. Approaching him, she introduces herself, but Darc rebuffs her, claiming he has no mother and blaming her for his father's death. Nafia tries to explain that she and Windolf truly loved each other, but Darc cuts her off. An alarm then sounds, alerting the soldiers of Darc's presence. He urges Lilia to escape with him, but Lilia insists on saving Nafia. Reluctantly, Darc agrees to help both Lilia and Nafia escape the Magist. Darc encounters more soldiers and battles to protect Lilia and Nafia. As he finishes off the soldiers, a surviving soldier aims at Darc. Nafia shields Darc, taking the bullet meant for him. Injured, Nafia tells Darc they should head to Ubel. Darc and Lilia and an injured Nafia arrive in Ubel, startling the gatekeeper with Darc's Deimos appearance. Nafia explains that Darc is her son. They head to Nafia's home, attracting curious stares along the way. As Lilia tends to Nafia's wounds, Darc remarks on human frailty. Nafia expresses her joy in seeing Darc again and thanks Lilia for taking care of both him and Kharg. She apologizes to Darc for the hardships he has endured, but Darc shows her his body, a form neither fully human nor Deimos. Despite his anger, Nafia insists Darc is her beloved son. Darc calls her a liar, lamenting his losses and declaring his faith only in his own strength. Nafia tells Darc she loves him more than anything, leaving him questioning her sincerity. She urges him to visit the Cave of Truth to seek answers from the spirits. Nafia bids Darc farewell and passes away.
Don't die, do you hear me? Who told you you could die? I detest you. More than anyone, I despise you. So don't die. I'll kill you. With my own 2 hands. So don't go and die until you've been properly killed. No dying, you hear me?
Darc.
Do you still mean to make me suffer? Do you plan to leave me all alone again? Answer me. Say something. Say something. Say anything. Mother. 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 Wake up. Please wake up. Mother! Mother. Damn it!
He and Lilia construct a grave for Nafia before departing for the Cave of Truth, seeking the answers that Nafia promised. At the casino in Sophos, Spencer expresses his gratitude to Kharg for saving Epistia. Kharg reflects on their failure to retain the Firestone and their inability to rescue Lilia from Darkham's grasp. Kharg verifies with General Spencer whether he can decide the fate of Tatjana, who was once part of the Delsroad army. General Spencer expresses his preference for executing Tatjana, but permits his savior to make the final decision. Kharg descends to the lower level where resistance members are antagonizing Tatjana. She responds with her own taunts. After dispersing the resistance members, Kharg attempts to convince Tatjana of the dangers Darkham poses to the world. Their conversation is interrupted by General Spencer, who informs Kharg that Samson is about to depart. Spencer assumes the duty of guarding Tatjana as Kharg ascends to speak with Samson. Paulette remarks on the lack of attention she receives compared to Lilia and Tatjana. Samson then tells Kharg he is preparing to leave, but is still missing 2 men, Boomer and Buster. Kharg volunteers to find them for him. Kharg then locates Boomer in the main plant and Buster in a secluded corner of Sophos, directing them back to the pub. After bidding farewell to Samson, Kharg and his companions prepare to confront Darkham. As Kharg departs, General Spencer announces his intention to escort Tatjana to Catena as a prisoner. Tatjana removes her headset and implores Kharg to take her along. Tatjana confesses that she used to live for Darkham, but now she wants to forge her own path. Recognizing her extensive knowledge of the Delsroad army, Kharg decides she will be an asset and agrees to her request. Tatjana suggests they return to the mountain stronghold to retrieve a wireless radio. With it, they could intercept Darkham's orders. Kharg and his allies return to the mountain stronghold and successfully locate the wireless radio. Tatjana manipulates the radio, uncovering garbled commands mentioning Ragnoff. The group then deduces that these orders pertain to Ragnoff, and Tatjana reveals Darkham's scheme to create an artificial Great Spirit Stone. She further explains Darkham's intention to use the 5 Great Spirit Stones to access the ultimate weapon, an ancient device capable of annihilating the world. Realizing the imminent threat, Kharg urges his team to proceed to Ragnoff swiftly. Before departing the mountain stronghold, they encounter Zev, who brings dire news that Yubel has been overtaken by Deimos. Despite their inquiries, Zev cannot provide any more information, prompting Kharg to prioritize their return to Yubel. Kharg and his team board the Big Owl and fly back to Yubel. Kharg returns to Yubel to find his home ravaged by chaos and destruction. He spots Banjo and approaches him, but Banjo flees, shouting for help. As Maru and Paulette investigate the situation further, Kharg heads home, where distressed Paulette informs him that the Deimos invaded Yubel without warning. She reveals how they captured Nafia and held her hostage in their home. Later, the Delsworld army attacked the town, and in the ensuing battle, the Deimos killed Nafia. Shocked, Kharg rushes into his mother's room, calling her name as he grapples with the truth. Paulette then reveals that a Drakir named Darc was responsible for Nafia's death. Consumed by a quiet rage, Kharg heads to the castle ruins to visit his mother's grave. He recalls their farewell at the Dragonbone Valley, realizing it was their final goodbye, which plunges him into despair. The party is also struck by the craftsmanship of Nafia's gravestone. Kharg regrets not staying in Yubel to protect them. Paulette shares further rumors, saying people are speculating that Darc might also be Nafia's child. Kharg vehemently dismisses the notion of his mother raising a Deimos child, not fully aware of his own heritage. Upon hearing that Darc has taken Lilia to the Cave of Truth, Kharg swears he will never forgive Darc. Their conversation is interrupted by Maru, who informs them that the townspeople are looking for Kharg. A group of townspeople confronts Kharg, angry and accusing Nafia of siding with the Deimos. Kharg tries to calm the crowd, but they continue to malign Nafia's reputation. The crowd, disgusted by Darc, now associates Kharg with the Deimos as well. Despite Kharg's denials, the town people continue to taunt him. Confused about his own identity, Kharg screams in anguish as Drakir wings emerge from his back. The crowd then flees in terror, realizing Kharg's true nature. Kharg's companions are also taken aback and distance themselves from him. Overwhelmed by his transformation, Kharg runs off, screaming in despair. He is later seen at Scrap Plateau, desperately tearing off his wings in denial of his Deimos roots. Determined to affirm his identity as a human, Kharg vows to eradicate all Deimos and create a just world for humans. He pledges to make Darc the first target of his mission. Back in Dracarnia, Darc's companions anxiously await his return. With the looming possibility that Darc has been captured by the Delsworld army, the group decides to seek guidance from Darc's grandfather, Willowo. Delma demands answers, but Willowo is visibly startled by their sudden appearance. Volk informs Willowo of Darc's disappearance, prompting the elderly Deimos to comment on the diversity within their group. Before addressing their concerns, Willowo poses a question of his own. Why are they following Darc? The group responds that Darc is their friend. Moved by their loyalty, Willowo begins to reveal more about Darc's heritage. He entrusts them with an heirloom ring, instructing them to give it to Darc when they reunite. The group is taken aback by the weight of Darc's past. Bebedora, sensing Darc's lingering thoughts, mentions that he was thinking of his brother Kharg. She suggests that Darc might be seeking out his brother, prompting the group to head towards Yubel, the hometown of Darc's mother. On their way to Yubel, the group pauses in Chaos Forest, now entering human territory. They devise a plan, deciding to send in just one person, and Bebedora volunteers, confident that her human-like appearance will prevent detection. Bebedora then navigates through the Chaos Forest and into Yubel. Upon arriving in Yubel, Bebedora finds herself in Nafia's house, where she encounters Paulette, who is in tears. Mistaking Bebedora for Kharg, Paulette is startled when Bebedora inquires about Kharg's identity. Bebedora then comments on Paulette's rose-colored thoughts, noting her attraction to Kharg. Stunned, Paulette tries to change the subject, asking Bebedora why she's there. Bebedora explains that she's searching for a friend, while also remarking on Paulette's feelings of regret. Encouraging Paulette to pursue her own friend, Bebedora leaves the house, still puzzled by the complex emotions she's experiencing. She heads to the inn and encounters Paulette once more, who excuses herself, promising to help Bebedora find her family later. Bebedora then continues to the castle ruins, where she meets Maru by Nafia's grave. Bebedora asks if he is Deimos or human, to which Maru replies that he is human, though Bebedora notes that his heart is more complex than a Deimos. It appears that Maru has been guarding Nafia's grave. He shares that Kharg was his first friend and later discovered he was a Deimos. Bebedora blurts out Darc's name, surprising Maru, who assumes everyone already knows it. Maru reveals that Darc kidnapped Lilia and fled to the Cave of Truth. He finds Bebedora a bit peculiar, but she asserts that she isn't strange. She's just Bebedora, created to destroy the world. Thinking it's a joke, Maru laughs as he explains how sad everyone would be if she destroyed the world. Bebedora learns about the emotion of sadness. Their conversation is interrupted by Gans and Tatjana, who are searching for Paulette. Maru introduces them to Bebedora. It seems Paulette has rushed to the Chaos Forest to confront some Deimos, driven by a rumor that her father's killer is among the group. Maru, Gans, and Tatjana hurry to Chaos Forest to aid Paulette. Bebedora reflects on the fragility of human hearts. Without their leader, Kharg, the humans seem lost, just as the Deimos are without Darc. Back in Chaos Forest, Delma, Volk, and Camellia await for Bebedora's return. Bored, they are soon challenged by a group of human mercenaries who have come to claim a bounty on them. After defeating the humans, Volk feels a pang of sadness, remarking how being Ragnar stirs his old wounds. Delma spots another human approaching, Paulette. Recognizing Volk as her father's killer, Paulette seeks revenge. Volk, in return, identifies Paulette as the daughter of Lloyd. Maru, Gans, and Tatjana arrive just in time to support Paulette. Tensions rise as both sides find reasons to fight. Bebedora enters the fray, much to Maru's dismay, aligning herself with the Deimos. As chaos ensues, Tatjana throws a flash bomb between the groups, allowing them to retreat. Bebedora then revealed that Darc has gone to the Cave of Truth. Camellia explains that the Cave of Truth is on Kharg Island. Both Camellia and Volk share that Kharg Island is a place steeped in legend, feared as a hellish domain. Kharg sits quietly aboard Samson's airship, lost in thoughts of both humans and Deimos. Sensing Kharg's unease, Samson remarks on his unusual silence, and Kharg expresses gratitude for Samson's guidance to the Cave of Truth. Samson reminisces about Nafia and recounts the stories of her who wielded a sword and fought off invaders. Kharg then confides in Samson, revealing that he carries Deimos blood, stating that his father was a Deimos. Though the revelation is startling, Samson accepts Kharg for who he is. Samson decides to accompany Kharg, citing potential danger and the opportunity for some treasure hunting. The duo then arrives at a tranquil beach. Samson notes the calmness before they spot two weary Slothians, who will promptly fall asleep. As they approach, Kharg comments that these creatures must be Deimos since they can speak. Realizing that the Slothians have no interest in fighting, Kharg and Samson choose to move on. Reaching the Slothian village, Kharg and Samson are surprised to see Slothians and humans living peacefully together. They explore the village, seeking more information about the Cave of Truth. Kharg speaks with a Slothian who mentions a girl in blue and a being who seemed part human and part Deimos. The Slothian also remarks that Lilia and Darc resembled the new hero and Holy Mother. He informs them that the pair they seek headed to Elder Hill, where the Slothian elders reside. At Elder Hill, Kharg finds many Slothians sleeping. After conversing with them, he learns about the legend of the first hero and the Holy Mother. According to the legend, when the world was on the brink of destruction, the hero and the Holy Mother would appear. Nafia and Windoff came with the same mission. The Cave of Truth is located on the northern side of the island. Armed with this new knowledge, Kharg and Samson head north to the Cave of Truth. At the Cave of Truth, Kharg spots Lilia and Darc surrounded by monsters. Although hesitant due to Darc's presence, Kharg, with Samson's support, decides to help. After defeating the monster, Samson introduces himself to Lilia as a mere thief. Finally, Kharg and Darc come face to face. Kharg draws his blade, ready to strike, catching Darc off guard. Lilia, witnessing this, pleads with Kharg to stop. Darc remarks on how human Kharg appears, despite being half Deimos. He continues to taunt Kharg, suggesting that Kharg has never faced the struggles he has, all while unsheathing his own weapon. Determined to stop the confrontation, Lilia shouts that they are brothers. However, the two emphasize their differences. One is human, the other Deimos. Lilia explains to Kharg that Darc did not kill his mother and reveals the true events. Kharg, though still harboring resentment, agrees to a temporary alliance with Darc. As they explore the Cave of Truth, they hear the voices of the spirits. The group learns that the Divine Ruler, fused with the power of darkness, became the Lord of the Black Abyss, repeatedly sealed in the Ark by heroes. The Divine Ruler created monsters as living weapons designed solely for combat. And with the spirits gone from the world, the monsters evolved. Among them, a more intelligent creature with stronger magical powers emerged, the Deimos. Over time, these creatures, empowered by the 5 great spirit stones, evolved further and began to dominate the lands once controlled by humans. Humans, once protected by the spirits, developed their own civilizations, but with progress came the destruction of nature and the pollution of the world. This caused the bonds between human and spirits to break. As ages passed, the spirits vanished, leaving their powers in the stones. Humans, in their pursuit of progress, exhausted the world's resources, leading to the collapse of their civilization and the eventual ruin of the world. They discovered the energy within spirit stones and have used it as a power source ever since. After completing the trials, a stone door opens, offering the truth to the group. Darc steps back, understanding that humans have caused significant harm. He criticizes humans for destroying the environment and exploiting every natural resource for their own gain. Kharg defends humanity's pursuit of prosperity. Lilia and Samson note that humans are never satisfied and remind Kharg, prompting him to argue that the Deimos are just as flawed. This disagreement creates another rift between Kharg and Darc, between human and Deimos. Both decide to walk away from the truth, but Lilia persuades them to reconsider, stressing that their parents would have wanted them to understand. She then rushes inside. Kharg and Darc reluctantly follow. Inside, they encounter the Spirit of Hope, the last surviving spirit in the world. The Spirit of Hope explains that Kharg Island has remained unchanged since ancient times, the only place where nature hasn't been ravaged by wars and modernization. The bond between humans and spirits still exists on Kharg Island, allowing the Spirit of Hope to remain. The spirit reveals that their parents came here with a hope for the future of both humans and Deimos, a hope that they will coexist and learn to respect one another. A skeptical Darc is told by the spirit that their parents overcame the barrier between humans and Deimos, loving each other very deeply. The spirit also warns of the Lord of the Black Abyss, sealed in the Ark, but not dead. He waits, biding his time, for the world to be consumed by negative emotions so he can rise once again. The Spirit of Hope fades away, leaving the world's fate in the hands of Darc and Kharg. The group then returns to the Slaudian village to ponder their next move. Darc then distances himself from the group, and Lilia tells Kharg about Darc's struggles as a Deimos outcast. He explains to Lilia what happened in Ubel, and admits that although the citizens want to kill him, he can't live hating humans. Lilia and Samson leave Kharg to his thoughts. As night falls, Kharg remains troubled, contemplating a world where Deimos and humans live in harmony. Unable to sleep, Kharg heads to the pier, where he finds Lilia singing a beautiful melody while Samson listens and compliments her. Samson reveals knowledge of the Ortena, arousing Lilia's suspicion about his identity. Lilia leaves to rest. Curious, Kharg approaches Samson and inquires about his connection with Lilia. Kharg realizes that Samson has always been there to help whenever Lilia was involved. He deduces that Samson is actually Lilia's father, but Samson urges him to keep it a secret. Samson confesses that he left his family to seek revenge against Darkham and Delsweld, which is why he only steals from them. Kharg then goes to Elder Hill to confront Darc.
What? A world where humans and Deimos live in peace. You think that's possible?
Sure. If every human in the world were like the humans here on Craft Island, that is.
Really? I was thinking that all the Deimos in the world should be more like the Slothians here.
Humans should submit to the Deimos!
No! The Deimos should bow down to humans!
So this is to be our fate. There's no other way out of this. You listen here, Kharg. Deimos live for war. It's all we know! If the Deimos were to submit now, it would be just like dying for us!
And humans can't just throw everything away, just like that. You think we're just going to let you destroy human civilization?
Your civilization only serves to weaken our race!
Wait! What are you two doing?
Weakling human!
Deimos bastard!
Please! Don't fight like this!
Samson interrupts with news of the Delsworld army's arrival. Believing that they are after Lilia, the group decides to confront the army at the beach. The trio arrives at the beach and faces off against Delsworld soldiers in battle. After the skirmish, a human boy approaches, pleading for help. He reveals that the village is under attack and the group at the beach was merely a diversion. Upon their return, the trio is horrified to find many Slaudians lifeless. They rush to Elder Hill to check on Lilia. There, they find more Slaudian bodies and a group of Delsworld soldiers who claim that Lilia has already been taken. Another battle ensues. Afterwards, Darc accuses Kharg of human cruelty, saying that Deimos do not kill weaker beings. Darc, consumed by hatred for humans, leaves. Kharg and Samson decide to bury the Slaudian elders. Later, Kharg seeks out Samson and asks why Darkham is so determined to capture Lilia. Samson reveals that when Lilia was born, her mother saw a light and heard a voice proclaiming that she would give birth to the reincarnation of a friend of the spirits. Determined to rescue Lilia, Kharg and Samson decide to head back to Ubel to rally the others for help. Back in the Slaudian village, Darc's conviction that humans and Deimos can never coexist is only strengthened. He harbors a deep hatred for the human blood within him. Although Darc dismisses the existence of his brother Kharg with ease, he struggles to shake the thoughts of Lilia. His brooding is abruptly interrupted by the sight of a Pyron soaring through the night sky. Reuniting with his companions, Darc apologizes and reasserts his identity as a Deimos rather than a human. He informs the group that Delsworld now possesses 4 great spirit stones and that they must reclaim them at all costs. Volk advises that the airspace over Delsworld is heavily fortified, suggesting that they may need to approach by land. Camellia mentions a route through the Kanara Desert on the southern edge of Haoshin, which would lead them into the Delsworld Empire. However, she warns that no one has ever successfully crossed the Kanara Desert. With no other options, the group sets out for the Kanara Desert. Upon arriving at Barbadoth, a refugee camp for Deimos driven out by humans, Darc explores the settlement to gather information, particularly about the Niente tribe. The Niente were once a powerful Deimos race that dominated the region, but their numbers have dwindled to near extinction. Darc learns that traversing the Kanara Desert requires knowledge of how to quell the raging sandstorms, believed to be the anguished cries of the Saryu tribe's spirits. The Saryu were humans who once inhabited the Kanara Desert and possessed the secret to calming the sandstorms. However, the Niente tribe decimated the Saryu, seizing artifacts with the power to halt the storms. Tragically, the Niente were later exterminated by the Delsworld. Now, the spirits of the Niente inhabit mummified corpses, and Darc embarks on a quest to find one such corpse that holds the knowledge to stop the sandstorms. Darc meets Fustark, the Niente leader, who reveals that to cross the desert, Darc must soothe the sorrow of the Saryu tribe spirits by playing the Saryu tribe's flutes. Fustark directs Darc to the pyramid ruins where the flutes are kept, though he warns that the spirits guarding them harbor a deep hatred for Deimos. The group then ventures into the pyramid ruins in search of the flutes needed to cross the Kanara Desert. Navigating through the ancient structure, they solve puzzles and uncover many treasures. Within a chamber, they discover a flute of peculiar design resting on a pedestal. Before they can claim it, a disembodied voice echoes through the chamber, threatening them with death if they proceed. Determined, Darc seizes the flutes, triggering an ambush by mummified guardians. Despite the overwhelming odds, Darc and his companions fend off the mummies and escape the pyramid ruins. Now armed with the ability to quell the sandstorms, Darc leads his companions into the Kanara Desert. Davidora senses the swirling emotions within the storm, prompting Darc to play the flutes. The sorrow of the Saryu tribe is soothed, and the sandstorm suddenly ceases, allowing the group to press forward. Though the journey across the desert is arduous and confusing, they eventually emerge on the other side. The party arrives at Malui's tower, marveling at its immense and enigmatic presence. Camellia remarks on the ancient magic emanating from the structure, distinct from the power of the spirit stones. As they approach, the sound of wings flapping draws their attention. Darc decides they should hide and observe. The group then watches as Droguza heads behind the tower, eventually confronting him as he converses with Delswell's soldiers. Darc and Droguza engage in a fierce battle, with Darc emerging victorious. In the aftermath, Darc demands to know how Droguza has gained such power so quickly. Droguza then reveals that he has been using the Great Spirit Stones to evolve, though his transformation will only be complete once all 5 stones are in his possession. He confesses to working with humans in pursuit of becoming the ultimate Deimos, intent on reviving the Niente tribe as its last surviving member. Darc, struck by the similarities between himself and Droguza, is momentarily stunned. Seizing the opportunity, Droguza escapes once more. Inside the Megist, the Delswell army braces for Darc and his companions' imminent assault. With unyielding determination, Darc leads the charge, breaking through the defenses and boarding the fortress. As Darc steps into the Megist once more, memories flood back. He recalls the moment his mother sacrificed herself. The weight of his past fuels his resolve as the group advances. The party eventually restores power to the elevator, gaining access to the ominous experiment tower. Upon entering, they are confronted by grotesque abominations, which at first glance seem like Deimos. After a fierce battle, the group is left shaken by the sight of this unfamiliar Deimos. Camellia speculates that, like her, they may be Deimos who have undergone horrific experiments. As they continue to explore the tower, the group discovers water tanks filled with numerous Deimos, revealing the dark truth. The Delswell have been using Deimos as test subjects. Camellia, haunted by the memories of her own torture in this very place, pleads with Darc to use the experimentation chamber on her once more. She believes it's her only hope of regaining her original form. Reluctantly, Darc agrees.
I am Camellia. Radiant for a flower of 200, eh? Am I not a wondrous bloom?
The procedure is a success. Camellia emerges transformed, no longer the withered flower she once was, but now a young, vibrant, and stunning Deimos. Even Volk is left speechless by her beauty. With renewed strength, the party presses deeper into the Megist, where they encounter Droguza, desperately begging Darkham to evolve him further. Darkham, seizing the opportunity to test the newly completed artificial windstone, agrees. As Darc and his companions arrive, Darkham reveals that Droguza is an outer Deimos, his identity as a member of the Niente tribe a mere fabrication. Droguza was created solely to gather the Great Spirit Stones for Darkham's purposes. Realizing the danger, Darc and his companions destroy the towers that harness the power of the 5 Great Spirit Stones, but as they finish, a monstrous roar echoes through the chamber. Droguza, now a twisted abomination, emerges for one final battle. Despite the formidable transformation, Darc and his companions triumph over Droguza. In his final moments, Droguza laments on his failure to revive the Niente tribe. When Delma attempts to tell him he was merely an outer Deimos, Darc interrupts, offering comfort. He assures Droguza that he will fulfill the mission to revive the Niente tribe in his stead. Before he passes away, Droguza asks Darc whether he was truly an outer Deimos or a genuine member of the Niente tribe. Darc, with compassion in his voice, affirms that Droguza was indeed a true Deimos. Gratitude fills Droguza's eyes as he thanks Darc with his dying breath. Kharg and Samson return to Ubel, but Kharg is hesitant to reunite with his companions. Sensing his reluctance, Samson eventually persuades him to move forward. After bidding Kharg farewell, Samson departs, driven by his personal vendetta against Darkham. Kharg proceeds to the castle ruins, where he encounters Maru. Maru apologizes, affirming that Kharg will always remain true to himself. He also reveals that the people are once again rallying behind Kharg, thanks to Paulette's efforts in garnering their support. Maru informs Kharg that Paulette is paying her respects at Nafia's grave. Kharg heads there and upon finding Paulette, tells her he has returned. Paulette, overwhelmed, is left speechless. Kharg expresses deep gratitude for her unwavering friendship. Paulette, overcome with emotion, embraces Kharg, tears streaming down her face as she apologizes for turning away from him when he needed her the most. Their tender moment is interrupted by Maru, who playfully teases Paulette, commenting on how things have finally returned to normal. Kharg then recounts what transpired on Crag Island before inquiring about Gans and Tatjana's whereabouts. Paulette informs him that they are at Dunor Point, gathering intelligence from the remaining Delsweld soldiers. Kharg decides they should head there as well. At Dunor Point, Kharg reunites with Gans and Tatjana. Tatjana explains that they have been diligently gathering information in Kharg's absence, and have learned that Darkham is heading to the Delsweld Empire. The group speculates that Darkham has achieved his goals, including creating an artificial windstone. The party boards Big Owl, intending to head to the Delsweld Empire. However, Tatjana warns them about the Curtain of Death, an anti-aircraft defense system along the borders. She recalls that a giant turret, the Mount Louise Tower, is also under construction in the south. Kharg and Tatjana devise a plan to infiltrate the Delsweld Empire by taking the Big Owl to Lusa Forest in eastern Haoshen and trekking over the monster-infested Mount Lambda, where Delsweld soldiers are unlikely to be present. The party then arrives at Lambda Temple, which has stood for over 3,000 years. Kharg speaks with the Lambda priest, expressing his desire to cross the mountain. The priest informs him that only those who truly understand the teachings of Lambda are granted passage. He invites Kharg to train at the temple, warning that the path will be long and arduous. Pressed for time, Kharg tells the priest he cannot afford to train as the world is in peril. The priest agrees to let Kharg pass on one condition. He must come to grasp the true meaning of Lambda's teaching through his own power. Tatjana suggests visiting the Great Library in Paces to find more information. Kharg and his companions head to Paces to gather information. Kharg inquires about the teachings of Lambda from the librarian, who tells him that an ancient Lambda Temple Sutra exists but must be found by their own efforts. As they explore the library, they discover two gemstones, one red and one blue, in the eyes of dragon statues. Slotting these into a pair of eyeless dragons at the back of the library reveals a hidden path to a room containing the Lambda Sutra, the road to enlightenment. However, the sutra is written in a long-dead language of Sumlian, making it impossible to decipher. This leads them to encounter head librarian Mormat, who examines the crown around Maru's neck. Maru shares that the crown is a treasured family heirloom. Mormat suggests they visit the Malmarma appraisal office, where they might also find someone who can read Sumlian. The party arrives in Milmarna, a town floating on the ocean. Maru, recognizing the view and the smell, decides to take a walk alone. Sensing something amiss, Kharg allows him to go while the rest of the party searches for help deciphering the sutra. Kharg takes the sutra to an appraiser, who informs him that deciphering Sumlian writing is forbidden, as it is a closely guarded secret of Milmarnian royalty. The appraiser suggests that if they can get permission from Madame Rosanna, they might be able to help. Kharg attempts to see Madame Rosanna, but is stopped by a royal servant, who tells him that only royal members are allowed beyond a certain point. As Kharg and Paulette plead their case, Maru steps forward, revealing himself as the Prince of Milmarna. The royal servant is skeptical until Maru displays his crown, which indeed belongs to the Milmarnian royal family. Maru is allowed to pass, leaving Kharg and Paulette to wait outside. Inside, Rosanna warmly welcomes Maru, addressing him as Prince Yumana and expressing her joy at seeing him alive. Fall, the fortune teller, introduces herself as his cousin. With Maru's help, Kharg and the others are granted permission to have the sutra translated. Maru, meanwhile, heads to Fall's room for a private discussion. Kharg and Paulette join them after leaving the sutra with the appraiser. Fall begins apologizing to Maru, who is puzzled as he has very little memory of his childhood. Fall requests that Maru take her place as the next ruler of Milmarna. She explains that Maru was always destined to ascend the throne, possessing within him the power to foresee the future. Conflicted, Maru steps outside to clear his head while Kharg and Paulette return to the appraiser. The appraiser reveals that the sutra is simple: clear away all distractions and keep your mind open at all times. With the translation in hand, Kharg finds Maru wearing his green mask. Maru, who has resolved to leave Milmarna without further ado, shares a secret with Kharg and Paulette. He is not the real prince. The true Prince Yomano gave him the crown long ago. Paul overhears Maru's confession and runs out. Maru then notices something in a crystal ball that causes him concern. Outside, he persuades Fall, who is about to leave by boat, to stay, promising to leave Milmarna quickly. As Fall departs, her boat drifts away empty and sinks, confirming Maru's ability of foresight. Fall acknowledges Maru's unique power, but he brushes it off, urging the party to hurry back to Lambda Temple. Returning to Mount Lambda, Kharg speaks with the priest, explaining that he has learned to clear his mind of distractions. The priest agrees but warns that mere knowledge of Lambda's teachings is insufficient. He challenges Kharg to face the training monks as a final test. Kharg and his companions easily defeat the monks, but they are then surrounded by what seems to be smoke or incense. As the next challenge begins, Kharg and his companions see Darc and his group approaching, which enrages each of them except for Maru. The incense seems to be affecting their minds. Maru, unaffected, passes the test alone and defeats the monks, allowing them passage through Mount Lambda. The party traverses through the mountain pass, battling monsters along the way. They encounter a gas similar to what the priest used, which induces hallucinations. Maru, having resisted it before, takes the lead. The gas transports them to Yubel, where they are then attacked by monsters before they can gather their thoughts. Following Maru's guidance, the party navigates through the several pass locations before finally emerging beyond the Mount Lambda mountain pass. On their way to Delsweld, the party comes across the eastern fortress, where they find the aftermath of a fierce battle. Dead Delsweld soldiers and wrecked machines litter the area, including Samson's downed airship. Fearing the worst, they prioritize finding Samson. After searching the area, they find Boomer, one of Samson's men. Boomer explains that they were pursuing Darkham and attempted to force their way into Delsweld. Samson, realizing that they were approaching the curtain of death, ordered his crew to abandon ship. However, Boomer and Buster chose to stay by Samson's side. Boomer reveals that Samson was more injured than they initially thought and went after Darkham alone, despite the danger posed by Darkham's royal guards. Resolute, Kharg and his companions continue into Delsweld. The party enters the Delsweld Empire, where Tatjana skillfully deceives the guard at the entrance, allowing the group to pass through unnoticed. Once inside the city, Kharg and his companions explore, engaging with various Delsweld soldiers. Tatjana takes the lead in these conversations and discovers that the Magus has been attacked by a group of Deimos led by Darc's gang. Kharg and Tatjana also learn from a Delsweld officer that Darkham has evacuated the area with Lilia and is currently heading towards Mount Louise Tower. Armed with this crucial information, the party sets out for Mount Louise Tower. Upon arriving at Mount Louise Tower, the party finds Samson, gravely injured and struggling to stand. Samson recounts the events. He had ambushed Darkham, who was holding Lilia captive along with his royal guards. Under threat from Samson, Darkham taunts him, suggesting that he could easily shoot Lilia. However, Samson remains unfazed, stating that it might be a better fate for Lilia, to which Lilia agrees, referring to Samson as her father. As Samson prepares to fire his guns, he is tragically shot down by Delsweld reinforcements. In his final moments, Samson urges Kharg to hurry to the top of Mount Louise Tower. Samson, lost in his memories, hears the voices of his wife Fiona and daughter Lilia before collapsing and succumbing to his wounds. Fueled by anger, Kharg charges into Mount Louise Tower, cutting down the Delsweld soldiers and machines that stand in his way. Reaching the top, Kharg and his companions witness Darkham in the midst of his final plan. Using the power of the 5 Great Spirit Stones and Lilia's unique status as a friend of the spirits, Darkham attempts to activate the ultimate weapon. The tower trembles and glows, but before its full power can be unleashed, the Wind Spirit Stone shatters. A mysterious figure appears before Darkham, reassuring him that the shattering of the stone has broken the restricted dimension, which is what truly matters. Darkham then harnesses this power, and Kharg and his companions witness a beam of light erupt from the tower. Darkham then reveals that he has just obliterated Katena without a trace, demonstrating the power of the ultimate weapon, the Flying Castle. With the world's fate hanging in the balance, Kharg and his companions confront Darkham and his royal guards in a fierce battle. They manage to defeat Darkham and his forces.
It is not my ambition to take over the world. I just want to annihilate the Deimos.
What did you say?
I resurrected the Flying Fortress for that exact purpose. To wipe all the Deimos from the face of this world forever in one fell swoop.
Destroy the Deimos? But why?
When Delswald was still but a small country, I was a good fief lord, loved and respected by the people I ruled over. But one day, an army of Deimos invaded our land. I flew to Cathena right away to request reinforcements. However,
Those incompetent officials delayed the decision so their council could discuss it. I was kept there during their long talks, unable to return. And you know what their decision was after all that? We should settle peacefully. Guess what was waiting for me when I finally got home? News that the Deimos taken all the children as hostages to force us to surrender. And then they killed our king. And those bastards even killed all the hostages, all those innocent children. Learning the Deimos way of thinking, of killing the weak any way possible, I was driven into a deep despair. After that, as the new king, I soon left the World Alliance and changed the country to an autocracy, so I could finally purge the Deimos from the face of the earth. Do you really want them wreaking havoc everywhere? I'm sure you too have a reason to hate the Deimos. If we do not destroy them, more countries are sure to meet with the same fate as old Dilswald. But Kharg, my plan has failed, so now I will put an end to it myself.
What are you going to do?
I have already let too much innocent blood be spilled. I want to set things right. Listen. You must do it. In my place. Destroy the Deimos. Ugh.
Darc.
They recognized that Darkham was merely another victim of the Deimos. Soon after, Darc and his group approach them. Darc spots Lilia and inquires about Darkham's whereabouts. Kharg informs him that Darkham is already dead and expresses his determination to eradicate the Deimos. Darc acknowledges this and reaffirms his belief that Kharg is no different from Darkham.
So, it all comes down to this battle. Humans and Deimos. There can only be one winner.
The fate of the loser is extinction from the face of this planet.
It's time to settle our fates once and for all. And the winner takes all 5 great spirit stones.
Yeah, but I will win, and the stones will be mine.
Darc and his group manage to defeat Kharg and his companions. As Darc reaches for the 5 great spirit stones, he begins to levitate along with everyone else. It becomes evident that the mysterious manipulations are the work of an enigmatic figure, the Mysterious Man, who approaches Lilia and reveals himself as Zev.
Listen to me, foolish humans. Watch me, wretched Deimos. I am the Divine Ruler.
Both Kharg and Darc are taken aback by his revelation. The Divine Ruler explains that his current body is temporary and introduces himself as the King of Kings. He sought to harness the power of darkness to reign supreme as the Lord of the Black Abyss. After thousands of years, the time has finally come. 5 centuries ago, humans caused the spirits to vanish, ushering in the era known as the Twilight of the Spirits. The Divine Ruler slipped through a crack in the seal, possessing Zev's body. However, his dark powers diminished with the departure of the spirits. To fully resurrect himself as the Lord of the Black Abyss, the Divine Ruler must utilize all 5 great spirit stones and break the seal on the Ark. The Flying Castle serves as the resting place of the Ark and the site of his resurrection. The Divine Ruler reveals that everyone has been nothing but pawns, orchestrating the hatred between humans and Deimos to reach this pivotal moment. He then disappears with the Great Spirit Stones and Lilia. Delma expresses a desire to kill Kharg and his companions. However, Darc intervenes, stating that Deimos do not kill the weak without reason. Darc and his group proceed first, heading behind Maloui's tower, where they discover the flying castle. His companions pledge their loyalty, but Delma unexpectedly expresses a desire to kill Lilia, surprising Darc. Delma makes Darc admit his feelings for Lilia and reaffirms her loyalty to Darc, leading the party to board the flying castle. Meanwhile, atop Malui's tower, Kharg and his companions discuss Lilia's disappearance and speculate that the Divine Ruler also requires her. They too board the flying castle, where they encounter Darc and his gang. With both groups intent on defeating the Divine Ruler, Kharg proposes a truce, emphasizing their shared enemy. Darc recalls the events at Kharg Island, highlighting the deep-seated animosity between humans and Deimos. As Kharg and Darc argue, a rumbling sound heralds the flying castle taking flight. Suddenly, the ground splits, and everyone plummets downward. Kharg, Gans, and Paulette regain consciousness together, but soon realize they are not alone. Volk and Delma also awaken, and tensions rise as Volk and Delma prepare to attack Kharg and his group. However, Kharg is able to persuade them to stand down. Their attention is diverted when a group of monsters ambushes them. They decide to handle the threat before addressing their differences. After defeating the monsters, the group chooses to travel together and explore the flying castle further. While inspecting a bridge for safety, Delma attempts to kick Kharg into the abyss. Kharg reacts swiftly, causing Delma to lose balance and tumble. However, she manages to grab onto something, saving herself from a fatal fall. Gans approaches, startling Volk. Instead of taking advantage, Gans helps Delma back to safety, surprising everyone. Kharg points out Delma's momentary hesitation. The group then continues exploring and eventually arrives at a massive door, deciding to wait there for the others. On the other side, Darc is accompanied by Bebedora, Maru, Camellia, and Tatjana. Separated from the rest, Camellia confronts Tatjana, attempting to end her life. Maru intervenes, urging them to stop. Bebedora senses approaching enemies, and soon, the group is ambushed. They work together to fend off the attackers. As they delve deeper into the castle, Bebedora becomes overtaken by darkness. Shrugging it off, she acts erratically and leads the group into a room meant for disposing of intruders. There, Bebedora reveals two dragons acting as her puppets, apparently gifts from the Divine Ruler, her creator. It becomes clear that Bebedora is being manipulated in order to kill Darc and Maru. Bebedora struggles against the command to attack Maru but eventually succumbs. The others defend themselves against Bebedora and her puppets, ultimately defeating them. As Bebedora lies lifeless, Maru mourns the loss of his friend. Unexpectedly, Bebedora regains consciousness, declaring that she is free from any control. The others rejoice as Darc clarifies that they are Bebedora's friends, not her masters. The group then proceeds to the massive door and reunites with Kharg and his companions. Kharg again attempts to broker a truce with Darc against the Divine Ruler, but Darc initially refuses, feeling destined to fight. Kharg persuades him by emphasizing that they cannot allow the Divine Ruler to continue his machinations. United, humans and Deimos agree to join forces to defeat the Divine Ruler. They advance through the door, navigating multiple floors until they reach another set of doors. Upon entering,
Now you are mine, my puppet, a loyal servant beneath me. All right, Lilia, now you chant. Chant the words to break the Ark seal.
Yes, Divine Ruler. Wills of the hero and the Holy Mother who have sealed this ark, I am a friend of the spirits. Through the 5 great spirits and through my will, may the ark's seal be opened. And may the infinite power residing within the ark be released. The time is now.
Yes, at last! Hear me, Spirit of the Dark. In accordance with the Dark Pact, grant me power! again at last. Again, I have ultimate power.
Stop right there, Divine Ruler!
You are too late, worms.
Divine Ruler, or whatever you call yourself, I hope you're ready to die!
What a foolish lot. Come to be swallowed up by my darkness, have you?
What?
Hear this! I am no longer the Divine Ruler. I have joined with the spirit of the Dark, and risen again as the Lord of the Black Abyss. I have no use for any of you now. May you decay in the dark depths. Bear witness to the power of the darkness!
Kharg navigates this darkness, witnessing the illusions where each member interacts with their loved ones. He himself converses with his mother until Lilia urges him not to succumb to the darkness, breaking the illusion. The rest of the party snaps out of their illusions and confront the monstrous replicas of Windolf, Nafia, and others. To end the battle, each party member must defeat their own illusion. As they overcome their dark reflections, the Divine Ruler reveals himself, now transformed into the Lord of the Black Abyss. He has captured Lilia, threatening her life if they pose a threat. The party engages in combat, defeating the creature holding Lilia. The Lord of the Black Abyss threatens to trap them eternally before vanishing. Realizing that they are now confined, the party feels despondent. They hear a voice encouraging them to hold on to hope. Lilia speaks, revealing that before being sucked into the abyss, the wills of the hero and the Holy Mother rescued her. She explains that to defeat the Lord of the Black Abyss, they must harness the power of the Ark. Kharg is skeptical, believing the power is lost. Lilia assures them that the power resides within their hearts. She elaborates that the Ark's power isn't derived from the spirits, but from cherishing and protecting all things, embodied in pure thoughts and hope for the future. This collective spirit is a true power of the Ark. Lilia reminds the party that hope persists even in darkness.
Now, let's look into the future. All of us, we must all put our hearts together.
What I hope for the future is a peaceful world.
I will save the future of the world.
Yeah, we gotta build a bright future together.
Future of freedom, that's what I want.
Science will be the power that creates the future.
I won't be afraid, whatever the future brings.
To protect our precious world.
We'll overcome anything that comes our way. I'll be a shield that protects the world.
For all the species, all over the world.
Great hero, Holy Mother, please lend us your power.
United, they channel their heartfelt hopes, generating a force powerful enough to escape their confinement. Reunited once again in front of the Lord of the Black Abyss, they catch him off guard. Kharg and Darc decide to set aside their differences to confront him. Together, as brothers, they lead the group into the final battle.
Price I'm willing to pay, not even for eternal peace.
We don't need friendship. We just have to trust each other long enough to defeat you. I'll never forgive you for what you've done. Kharg feels the same way.
That's right. That's because we're brothers.
After a grueling struggle, the Lord of the Black Abyss remains formidable and threatens to annihilate the world. Before he can execute his threat, Lilia steps forward, determined to steal him away. Amused, the Lord of the Black Abyss notes that the Ark has lost its power and the spirits have departed. Lilia prepares to sacrifice herself to empower the Ark's seal. Before she can act, the Spirit of Hope appears, accompanied by other spirits associated with the 5 Great Spirit Stones. They declare that as long as a connection exists between humans and spirits, the Lord of the Black Abyss cannot be defeated. Consequently, the spirits choose to depart from the world, taking their power with them and ensuring the Lord of the Black Abyss cannot resurrect. Kharg and the others witness the spirits' departure following the Lord of the Black Abyss's disappearance. With the spirit's power gone, Kharg worries about the future for humans and Deimos who relied on the spirits for their life force. Lilia assures Kharg that humans and Deimos do not need supernatural powers. Darc appears unfazed by this revelation. The party then observes the flying castle meeting its watery demise, erupting in fireworks-like explosions. Back at Slaudian village, Kharg and Darc discuss the future relations between humans and Deimos, acknowledging that conflict may arise once again. Instead of postponing, Darc suggests addressing it immediately. They draw their swords, but Kharg teases Darc, suggesting he hopes someone will stop them since they are brothers. Lilia joins Kharg and Darc, lightening the mood with jokes.
It doesn't solve everything, that's fine too. Maybe eternal peace just isn't possible for us.
Looks like we have been stopped.
Damn. Go ahead and rebuild your broken, battered human world.
You Deimos too. And don't waste your time trying to kill each other.
Hey, that's my line. Just like a couple of kids arguing.
Yeah, just like real brothers.
Sorry, but the only hand I have to offer is this one. You still want to shake hands with me?
Even if this calm doesn't last long, even if it's not a sincere peace, whatever comes of this, it will be much better than war. Don't you think? As one era ends, another begins. The era of the Twilight of the Spirits. From now on, we must learn to live on our own. Gods in the heavens, please bless this world. Spirits leaving for a far-off place, give this world your protection. Please look after us. And our future.
Akamaru.
Let's bring it. Very good
Oh
no! Why is that guy just still holding his sword? Yeah,
Alright. Forgot.
He forgot to fucking sheath his sword. Bro, you good? Oh shit, he's not good.
Lloyd!
Oh, Lloyd!
Lloyd!
Father?
Chamorro! See? Look at you. What are you, a softy little human? We got feelings.
Bro, jeez, chill, bro. Come on, man.
Ain't no real Deimos in there, just some crybaby motherfucker.
Hey, come on, man.
Feelings.
I'm a Deimos.
Oh. Not going down.
So you defy me?
So you defy me.
Can I use this? So you defy me?
I don't know any other word.
Yeah, he got like 3, okay?